lot of people here early. Actually, it'll start till 7:30, but it's not pretty sure. Anything exciting happened today? Unscheduled maintenances or anything like that? Anything to disrupt the flow of the site? All right, I'm going to try and powerball through. Honestly, I should just prioritize the full fields. Once those two get up there, I'm not going to stop discussion if it's going to keep going. If it cuts off naturally, it cuts off naturally. We have time to cover the races we missed. Great. If not, I'm going to prioritize discussion tonight over races. I feel like that's more valuable than seeing something that you can see every week, 2-3 times a week. It's hard to get people, larger stables, bigger players in the game, to lock down time and set it aside. So with that said, all right, so 5. That one will probably be easy to run through. It's either going to be dog or pass. I feel like it's going to have a motor in it. The allowance should be relatively easy. The S stake should be easy. All right, so 2 canceled. The 2 hardcore races are so great, popular. I love them. They canceled. So we get the qualifiers, and then we get 4 normal races. I doubt I get through in 45 minutes, but Saturday was pretty. I did pretty good Saturday with the speed round, and Tuesday should be a lot easier. What's going on, but I'll have you know I talked someone off a ledge for buying an RDF man from me. Not because I wanted to keep it, but because no one should be buying right there as an archetype to join in and have fun with. Not a single person. I said, you know what? Don't buy it. You don't need this. Go buy something else. All right, first race. Is this the first race? No, the saddle challenge is a bonus race. How much time do we have for this one? No, how dare I? That's me helping. That's me doing my good deed to the world and the world of PFL. Yeah, Guy Stable gets it. See? I'll have someone else up here that was single-handedly killing something in the game, and you can ask him how to feel about it. Only on Saturdays, it's the valuable one. It's hard to get value out of it on Mondays and Tuesdays, I'll tell you that. But Saturday, we had a good Saturday. We had a very good Saturday. But tonight, people should be listening to the King and the Destroyer and what they have to say. I'm sure Mr.B will be happy. There's been talks about the breeding getting moved back. The last time, when was the last time he was up here? That was the commish. Gotta find 3-4 bozos on the screen. All right, there's Stens, so I'm way too far back. If Stens is on the fucking screen, then you know I'm too far back. Logan Foles Day. It was like 2 months ago, I think. I don't understand why I don't have it updated in the stupid headline. Why am I so dumb in the head? It was Tuesday, so it would have been after dark. Or was it this one where I was bitching about inbreeding? Imagine having a Stable Talk logo on when you're just talking to yourself. What a fucking idiot. Yeah, it looks like we might not get to any races tonight because now I gotta find it. Because it's important. We talked about important stuff that night. That's another. See, look at how popular Stens is. Stens, why are you being such a dick, man? Come out of retirement. Look at all these. All the most viewed streams are with you. Come back. Why are you being like that? There's no way that episode wasn't one of the most viewed. With Mr.B, Commission, RVA, there's no fucking chance. Y'all really love Stens this much. Granted, I mean, it's not a lot of views, but still some views. Fuck it, we ride. I don't care. It doesn't matter. The past is the past. Today is today. We get a new perspective on how the game looks through the eyes of Mr. B. Mr. B and the JJ. RVA Racing. Saddle Challenge. I don't want to do this one, but I guess I will. Crockett, what's up, yo? Y'all are liking posts. Y'all are so nice. That's what I'm talking about. See? Stens doesn't want to stream anymore. So he's done. A few of them, yeah. I don't know which ones. I really don't. I'm trying to remember because someone actually tweeted me about it and they're like, where was it? How was it? And I found it, but now I can't remember. Do I want to power through this one? I guess so. We can. Real Sparkle. All right. GVG's supposed to join tonight, but I haven't heard from him, which is kind of concerning. So if he pops up, it'll be unbeknownst to me. Well, I'll know about it, so it doesn't really count. But perhaps he'll be here. You should be up here too. I don't care what country you're in, bro. Imagine a world where we had Stens, Poker Player, SecretariYat, RVA. How many times I would have to mute people constantly for screaming over top of each other. I would have to mute everyone to let Poker Player talk because your accent is thickish. So I would need that to come through clear. And then I'd have to individually mute Stens and RVA. I don't think I'd have to mute Mr. B. I think he's pretty good. But when he gets, I feel like when he gets on a heater, you can't stop him. So hopefully we get some of that tonight. Actually, no, I need to keep his blood rate down, or his blood pressure down. I don't need anything happening on stream live. All right, Royal Sparkle, 6 furlongs, has 3 goes about it, 2 seconds. Cleats are good. Average is solid. Need to make sure none of those were on yielding, so Stens doesn't start yelling. All right, there was one, but it was also a forest field. 4 furlongs doesn't count. 6 furlongs yielding dead. All right, so 2 dead ones on yielding. But almost a second. Yeah, 4 tries on a good track will win in 2 seconds. That's solid. Swift Justice hasn't tried 6 yet, but he's 1 at 5. Tried the graded stakes as a 4th and a dead last. Remember numbers on good, despite the 83 and an allowance of weight. An allowance of weight. Fucking perfect match that actually was. The only thing that doesn't truly line up with the finish and the tempo, but they're so lucky with the Wolves. Nah, I still like a 1 over the 2. Lady Ben, no tries at 6, a ton at 4, 1 at 5, and 1 at 8. The 1 at 5 was in a grade 1, and it was piss poor, but it was on the slot. 8 furlongs was also on a slot. So 2 slot. Can't really take much away from those. And then the rest is at 4 furlongs. So it doesn't have a win yet. Tried graded again on a good track. We got mollywopped. There's a world 5 furlongs is fine for it. Still, the 4 furlong numbers and the strength of schedule favor Sparkle more than it does the 3 and 2. All right. All right. Round and round we go. Which GBG horse do we have to pick to win? I still like Royal Sparkle. I feel like this one was in here just to fill the race, potentially. It could also be live. Doesn't have the wins yet. Has placements and stakes. 3rd in a 13 horse last race. That was pretty solid. I still think it's Sparkle. What a great check 0. Stens or poker player. Who sold him this one? One of y'all has to remember. Yeah, still on Sparkle over the 4 as well. Dead Heat. Okay. Souls. That's fine. You can watch WSOP all you want. If I have a question, you have to answer. Because you know the answer. And people want to hear from you. They don't want to hear from me. I just presented evidence that people want to see Stens. So this stable is fucking just stacked to the gills. Because it's still pretty solid. All things being said, you know. All right, Dead Heat the 5. The most tries at 6, 3 wins and a 3rd, high 88, 7. Yeah. So this is likely the horse that they have to beat. Do I think the 1 can beat it? Probably not. This is like the third ovation horse that's actually done anything. Sparkle doesn't have a win at 6. Solid track record at running 2nd. Dead Heat has also been running with strictly quick stake. Hasn't pulled a win out besides the S Max stakes, S plus Max stakes last time. concerned. Both yielding, so does that make sense? I want to know what happened in this last race. Nobody from that race is in this one. SecretariYat. Little. They ran fast. Horse was on the lead the whole way. Literally got buttoned. Winning at 5. What has big field? Oh, this is the one. This is the one. This is the one we were arguing about the one day, Stens. All right. When you were rah-rah-rahing about yielding, even though it was a 14 and 15 horse field. Yet, all right, it hasn't panned out too much, huh? I guess we have some sample size now. Still can't discredit 14, 15, and 16 horse field. Just really weird. Yeah, this fucking went downhill. Didn't even go back up. We ain't getting through no race card tonight. That is for sure. Not at this rate. Sorry, Jack. I don't think Sorry Jack even had a snowball's chance. He even won't be wrong. And I beat Sorry Jack. Alright. How much was this race that I didn't enter? Oh, 7K. Yeah, we ain't doing all that. I don't know if you were right. There's a world you might have been. But the races there was also a handful of races on soft too, so it's, you have to be determined. Truly, you have to be determined. Sten's just watching poker. He can only be. You just let me know and I'll yell at him. So you got a crazy roll with this one too. Jesus Christmas. I've never gotten a roll like that. That's crazy. Where did it pull from? People have all the luck. Some people have all the luck. All right, so on a good track, this horse is no shot. It's 11 to 16, 7 to 7. So you legit just want a fast track above third. Yeah, I guess. Well, yielding doesn't count then, so. One half of the entry, yeah. One half of the entry is up there. We look pretty good. The top 10 for the season looks kind of nice. Zook, DoughBoy, looking kind of fresh. You're always supposed to look at the leaderboards. All right, I believe someone said that. Always check the leaderboards and see who's winning and what stallions are producing. Yeah, this one, the 7 is a wall up. Yeah, that's just still a crazy roll, especially with having a green stat and a bunch of S minuses. There's already S plus or S plus or no. and Ace King pulled up. Ace King all of a sudden can do that. Couldn't do it for me for 6 seasons, but can do it now. I don't know. I feel like Dead Heat's a trap. I think I want to go with Royal Sparkle here. It's like a fucking sneaky. Like, it's very evident that the 7 wants a fast track only. Hasn't missed the board on the fast track. Good, it's missed the board 3 times. Granted, 1 was at 9 furlongs. 7's fine. It already has finishes at 7. 4, yeah. Good track, just not responding well. Races might be tougher than the other states, but I don't know if the inconsistency of the 5 is worth trusting. I think I'm gonna stick with 1. I'll take 5 to 1 for a nibble. We'll see what happens. I think it's the worst. Who's gifting what? Oh, Jack Horseburger, thank you for your Prime sub. Viper, appreciate your gift if you got him. Oh, Guy Stables, let's go. M. Valentino, thanks for the follow, appreciate you. Yeah, about 30 minutes you got to deal with my dumbass solo, and then I wonder how many times. Let's start it over under because I don't even think he's here yet. Stens, how many times do you think I have to? You can set the line. How many times do you think I have to mute the JJ tonight? Then we can take some side action in the chat. I did it last time. I don't want to. I don't want to do it. I really don't want to have to do it. You know what? Sometimes it has to be done. Gotta let people get their point across. I muted him last stream. You forget that part? I'm not scared. I'll hit the mute. Everything negative they say, they have to gift subs to the community. Well, that's the other thing too, guy. We can't be disrespecting our elders up here either. We gotta have some respect for the older generation. That's our wisdom. They won't have to say anything nice if GVG shows up. They'll just be oozing the good vibes, and it'll counteract everything. I hope he gets up there tonight. I haven't heard from him, which kind of stinks, but it'd be like that. He's a very important person. All right, let's jump into actual race one. I hope that it's slightly easier. If we don't get finished, we don't get finished. Be like that. All right, we can power around. So right there, sloppy. Are there any soft horses? There's 1. There's 2. All right, burnout the 1. Over 5 with a second and a third at the distance. No tries on sloppy. Closest they got was yielding, and then a bunch on good. Okay, pass. 2 get 4 tries at the distance. 2 wins, 2 seconds at the third. All right, now we're getting somewhere. 1 try on sloppy was a 67. Yuck. Something though. Where is it? 4 furlongs, 7 horses. All right. Yeah, 67 is cuck up. It's a result. So on the next 3 snugly, 3 tries at 4, no win, 2 seconds in a third, 3 goes on sloppy, a win in a third. All right. His average for 3 races is the same as the one from the race from the 2. But let me see where they're at. 66 for the 4th. Step. 3rd, 71. Well, there's a soft preference source in here. So we're either going to get stuck with chalk, which it looks like what's going to happen, or we're not going to play this race. Ross Creations already beat the Dry Knee Park entry twice already. We haven't even seen it yet. I'm pretty sure it's the other soft preference source. So the exact is probably 3-5. All right. So yeah, 3-5. Now flip a coin. We're not getting value in this race. That's actually a fair line, honestly. And that's not an unrealistic like bet. I think you would. I would take yes. Yeah, Ross Creations taking it early. I mean, it's not a ton early, but it's still enough. So it's the pick. Is there a world that the 3 compete? I don't think. They're both good horses. You don't think he'd play it? I don't think that's true. I think he'd play. I think he would for sure try it. I think it's a not unrealistic thing. Ready to get punished because poker players in chat. That just means we get punished. So that's the problem. That's the problem with these short fields and why I hate short fields. Like, I want to put 1K down. The problem is, as soon as I put 1K down, we just anchored the fuck out of the 5 to be in the favorite. Especially with 2 full hours left. And I would rather not be stuck in that position. So I think this is the race that I'm going to come back to, like 10 minutes, 5 minutes before it fires, or before it closes, and we're going to recheck the odds. But I'm going to be on the 5 in this race. Maybe I just put it on the banner and make sure I come back. Did you play that shit? Did you actually play it? That's a serious question. I saw it and I said, this shit is bogus. And then I waited, and then obviously here I am with PFL, but different games. Yeah, there is. Yeah, it looked like ass. I don't know. I have a hard time trusting visuals, but if it looks like shit, I can imagine it's going to be shit, but can't really do that all the time. All right, next race. The allowance, 12 furlong or 11 furlongs left turf fast. All right. Find the best fast horse at the distance. That's all we got to do here. It's not the S. Has 2 tries on fast. It's fine at the distance. It's carrying the weight. It's done it once before and it didn't fare too well. Pass on the 1. Comediva. Speaking of the devil, out of Ted. 3 tries at the distance, 2 wins. Okay. 2 goes on fast, a win. 68. And average is 75 and a half. Where's it at? So it's a 7-horse field. S- stakes. And then this allowance archetype and a ran 4th. Woke up this morning, was in that race. I think woke up this morning, took my money on Saturday. That's the A+ that I sprinkled in the free roll. Son of a beach. Maybe it's to get it back race. All right, so it has a 4th in this race. There's a world it could pop off. I don't think it can win it. If it finish 4th, it could definitely try and finish 2nd or 3rd, but we'll see. Hermod, 8 stars, a win, 3 seconds, and a 3rd, 5 for 8, 2 on the fast track, a 2nd, ran a 57. All right, I'm gonna pass on you, I think, my friend. I think so. Should be able to find something better. But we'll keep it in mind. 57 is kind of ass, but it is an A. It's 10 points less than 2, which is an S-, so it's not the worst. In regards, the distance is a good thing. If we keep the 3 on the list, it is a fast track, so anything can happen. Silicone Alien, another A, 3 tries at the distance with a 2nd, 2 wins and a 2nd with 11 tries on fast. Okay, it's something. It's not nothing. It's definitely something. Coming off multiple seconds and then 2 wins back there. So the last 5 races for this horse aren't the worst. There is a win. It is a short field, 4 horses. But 3 seconds and a win in A max stakes the last 4 races. The 5 masked trike. 4 starts, a win in the 2nd. At the distance, 3 tries on fast with a 3rd. Carrying the weight, pass. Actually, it has no problem carrying the weight. 6 tries with 120, 2 wins, a 2nd, a 3rd. The fast numbers just aren't there. That's it. 3rd in a 5-horse field is hardly acceptable. 4th in a 6-horse field, again, hardly acceptable. The 6, Surfer Mercury. 4 tries at 11, a win, a 2nd, 2/3, so 100%. 2 tries on fast with 2 wins. All right, so we probably found our play, probably. It's always locate the best A. It's 13 for 23 lifetime, 100% at the distance, and 100% on the track condition. And his numbers aren't even the worst. Put up a 67 in the same race last start. And then has a win in a short field. So 5 and I think that's fine. I think that's okay. He bring us 3 in here. We're just farming these races now. That's crazy. Born to be Queen. 1 try at 11, no success. Has a win at 10 and a win at 9. So 12 and 11 potentially too far. Carried 120, over. 2 tries on a fast track with a 2nd. I'll take the A. I'll take the 6. Gosho Hibanima, 4-year-old, 19 tries at the distance, 2, 3, and 6, so 11 for 19. Okay, that's not bad. On a fast track, 10 tries, 4 wins, and 2 seconds. All right, so if there's going to be an S- that contends, it's likely 8. It's likely to 8. Now, it hasn't carried 120 at all. It looks like it hasn't carried any weight from what we can see here, so keep that in mind as well. That might damper it. But I still think I'm taking the A. And then the 9 woke up this morning. Bitch ass owes me 630 for my sprinkle. The 13th is unacceptable in a 70 max. I was told that A+ had chances to compete in restricted fleet figure races. I was told A pluses had a place in these races, and you're telling me 13th is a place? Come on. In these allowances, though, this horse feasts, so that's something to keep in mind. On a fast track, is also very good. 9 for 14 on a podium, carrying 118, 5 wins and 7 starts, and that's what actually drew me to this horse on Saturday, is the fast track record. Failed me, though. I think you probably get place. I think you probably get a place or show on the 9. And I think I'm still sticking with the 1 or the 9. 6 for my win play. I think you can get something on the 9 there. For sure. Yeah, Surf and Mercury taking some dollars. That's fine. I'm okay with that. What up, Cram Dad? I don't mind the 9. I don't mind the A plus at all. Sure. So does Grandpa's do it better? You're watching Richie Rich. I'm watching for Richie. We're both looking for 2 separate Richies in this scenario. Yes, very much classic. Blank Check, also classic. Blank Check probably should have never been made. Now that we sit back and look at it, I don't think an 8-year-old boy should be being seduced by a 27-year-old woman. But it was, all in all, it was a great movie. Perfect. I enjoyed it very much so. I always wanted to be a millionaire after seeing that movie. Didn't work out too fucking good, and I did it. Yeah, Richie Rich is definitely a fucking classic. Very good movie. Very good. For feeling. Howard the Duck was fucking awesome too. I used to watch that shit. Howard the Duck was great. I'm pretty sure I was still in my single digits when I was watching it. Did you go to Discord today, Crockett, and see Ghost's proposal? I will actually post it in here because it is a valid. It is worth. Cancel this whole thing. Can I just copy this whole thing? Copy link. I can. For those of you that didn't see in Discord today, yeah, here. For those of you that haven't been in Discord and haven't seen it, claiming races are fucking dead. I don't care what anyone says. They're dead. They're dead. And we need them back. We literally need to make claiming great again. And that's the only thing that matters. Well, there's a lot of other thing that matters too, like consistent schedule, race distribution, shit like that. Finding out who Richie really is. But we need to get claiming needs to be fixed. A-scrap. Very A-scrap. That is literally the ecosystem. Now we have all these benchmark races that I just don't like running. Don't. Not unless I have an S or an S minus. I don't like them. All right, where are we at? Race 3. I got RVA's running behind, which is fine. I did, however, I won't hide behind it because I'm not like that. I did, however, drop the claim on a horse today for the first time. 5 seasons? 6 seasons, maybe? Season 11 was the last time I think I claimed. No, it might have been season 10. Season 10, yeah. Yeah, season 10 was the last time I claimed the horse. So 7 seasons ago. 6.5. So I dropped. I don't think I'm going to win it. I think there should be multiple claims on the horse if I'm not a complete dumb idiot. But we all know that's 50-50. So, all right. On to the next race. Right dirt yielding, S minus or S restricted. I didn't enter this race, did I? I didn't. I'm so smart. 2 GVG horses. 2 DoughBoys also in here. Very good horse. Famous Blondie. 4-year-old, 19 tries at 11. 11 for 19. Okay. 4 wins in 6 seconds. So winner go home. 50-50. Unyielding, 10 tries, 2 wins, 2 seconds, and a third. All right. So the numbers are good. 74 average for bit distance and track condition. Still punching at the S level. Couldn't get it done in a 30K claimer, but got it done in a 12-horse S Max stakes. So, what's that mean? Claiming back. 2 DoughBoys to 4, 11 tries at the distance, 4 wins, a second, 2/3, 7 for 11, solid. 5 tries on yielding, 2 wins, and a second. So the average is slightly higher for the distance, but it's yielding, so anything can happen. Yeah, 2 DoughBoys a little bit more consistent than the distance. That might actually play a factor. Vacation, 3, 10 tries, 3 wins, 4 seconds, and a third. So 8 for 10, very good. Hasn't touched yielding yet. A 1-star soft, so it shouldn't be that big of an issue. I'd like to see some good results so that way I can get a gauge. What we can look for. Sloppy, soft. So this must have been a down roll on a 60%. This horse only runs on sloppy and soft. Interesting. Latterwassel? What kind of name is that? Also, Chad, if you have name suggestions, Stens is looking to name horses tonight, so please drop your suggestions. I think he named 30 horses last time he was here doing that shit, so help him out again. 11 furlongs has 12 tries, 5 wins in 3 seconds, 8 for 12. Okay, that's good. 85 and a 74. Yielding 7 attempts, 2 wins in a second, 85 with a 74 average. So the 4 is the same average distance and track condition as the 1. 2 DoughBoys has a 2-point advantage on distance, which I kind of like better. Holidays have passed the 5, 10 tries, 3 wins, 3/3. Okay. Yielding 6 goes, 3 wins, and a third. Are they big fields? Yes. Okay. GVG has entered the Coliseum as a competitor. How many times have we lost to 2 DoughBoys? 1, 2. Blondie, 1. Sensational stud. Damn, that's fucking nice. Get on it, Stens. I don't know if he wants to use his likeness in the names, but it's still pretty solid. Holidays have passed over Royal Holiday. Royal Holiday has 3 wins on yielding, has 0 wins at the distance, so I guess that's favorable for the other 2. Zoom, 1 win and 11 tries at the distance, 4 seconds and a third. All right, not on par with the rest of the class here. Running mainly allowances, I don't like that. S Max stakes. I mean, it's fine, but there's no win equity at the distance. Close your eyes and you believe this horse is 9 for 9 at the distance, so keep that in mind when you're entering the ticket. Holidays have passed. 6 for 10. Placer Loss will also live. Stakes. Vacation. Throw a dart with 5. 2 DoughBoy should be taking some monies. Alright, we're approaching that time. Mr.B's demanding now. That's crazy. Send me the link already. All right. Mr.B should be up in a few. We'll attempt to get the next race done. If not, well, there's a gap from race 40. I'm going to try. If we can get to the qualifiers later, we'll get to the qualifiers later. If not, it's going to have to be like that, unfortunately. All right, Mistaken Identity, the 1. 100% at the distance, almost 100% on sloppy. 5 for 7, carrying 118. So the 1's already in play. We'll keep that one on the docket. Divine Zero out of Bellamy Racing has been running longer, shortening up for the first time. Carried 120 twice with a second. I think I'm still going to favor the weight cut from the 1 over the 2. The 3, probably same condition. Running up higher, has 1 race at 9, has a result in sloppy, hasn't carried the weight yet. Could be an issue. Has 1 the S minus the S plus allowance. It's fine. Probably should stay there, honestly. Why are you running in this? I'll still go with the 1, the weight cut. The 4, Ketapang, 3 tries at 8, 2 wins. Sloppy, 8 tries, 4 wins, a second, a third. All right, so we're off the 1 and on the 4 because we found the A. My Lady, 1 for 1 at the distance, 1 try on sloppy with a show, carrying weight, 1 for 1. All right, so it won this race last time out on a soft track. What was in that race? How many S minuses? All right, well, let's not allowed to go off of the A plus still ranked second. That's fine. I guess you could use that as a measuring stick for the 5. I think I'll still take the A. Holy shit, what a great name. 1 try at the distance, over 5 on sloppy, pass. I want some results on sloppy, please. Thank you. The 7, 4 tries at the distance, 2 seconds, 1 try on sloppy with a win. Hasn't carried the extra weight yet. Has carried weight in the range allowance. Stop running these things, please. Range allowances. Ran second in a short field. This isn't a short field. And you're still carrying weight. I'd like the 1 over this one. The first A plus we looked at over the 7. The 8 tenant could hit the boards 100% on sloppy. Has a win in this condition. And a full field as well. Worth keeping an eye on. I still think I'll take the A. I still think I'm going to take the A. Mythical Prince is probably not going to get it done. 0 for 5 carrying 118, 0 for 6 on sloppy, over at the distance. This horse is likely to break its neck in the middle of the race. Outside of that, I think it's probably tied for the second, third best A+ in the race. And it's not really much. The one's still the better one. This one has results carrying the weight. Has results on a sloppy track. It's also running longer. So it's either you can trust the S- with a 4-pound disadvantage. You can trust the S with a 6-pound disadvantage, or you can trust the A with a 6-pound and a 4-pound advantage. I'm going to trust the 4 in this allowance race. It's made for those horses, and that's what we're going to do. All right, let's go. Someone's hammering up on the 5 early. All right, Mr.B, I see you. Give me 1 second. Jesus Christ. What did I say about respecting elders earlier? And I'm sitting here, this guy's sitting backstage waiting for me. All right, that's the last pick to get out. All right, we got 4 races in, that's fine. I apologize, Mr. B. I truly do. I apologize so much.
Oh, no worries.
I never meant to keep you waiting.
Huh.
Unfortunately, JJ's dinner's late or something like that, so he's gonna hold everything up, but that's fine.
Oh.
I was trying to go back and find out when the last time it was that we had you up. It was like a month and a half ago or 2 months, no?
It was probably a month. It was whenever Kamish was up. I can't even remember when that was.
I should have labeled the YouTube video a little bit better, so that way I could go
probably
through
last season.
Yeah,
probably about a month ago.
That's what I was thinking. All right, so it's been that long. So how you been?
I'm okay. Breeding week takes a lot out of me. I kind of get wiped out and need a couple of days to recover, but I'm ready to go now, I think.
Took a nice mini vacation in between.
I did take a vacation and I came back right before breeding week. So, we were away, but I was like, I got to be back, for the start of the new season.
Yeah. Jeez, I strive to be like Mr.B one day.
Yeah, too many vacations.
Yeah, not enough on this side. Not enough.
Well, but you and Zook are killing it in the majors. I guess one was the 2 back was just you. It wasn't Zook, and then the last one was you with Zook and not you.
This past weekend was it all the last 7 days. Last Saturday to Saturday was like it was a time. I'll tell you that because like Saturday I won the last Saturday I won the A restricted free roll. I mean it was $500, but $500 paid for all the breeding for the season, so that was great. And then we snuck in the right dirt sprint because not everyone entered. I thought we were going to get booted because we were under the cut line. And there was 3 horses with 4 points above us. So
yeah, I think people forget. Well, 1, they probably don't have a very good shot to begin with, and 2, that Thursday night thing. No matter what you do, people just kind of forget. It's right in the middle of breeding week. You qualified like a week before.
Yeah,
people just forget.
I talked about it on Monday. I said I talked about it extensively on Tuesday about how I don't have a snowball's chance, but I'm still going to enter. And if I get in, I'll still hope for 5th because 5th is still like $300 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I said there's no I shouldn't get in. There was people in chat that there should be like a reminder, this and that. I was like, no, I don't think there should be. I said it's a competitive game. If you qualify, you should have the responsibility to make sure you enter that horse into that given stake. And if you don't, sorry for you.
Also, sometimes with the right dirt ones, if there's fillies, they just retire.
Yeah.
You might run early in the week, qualify, and then just breed. So that's the one, pretty much the only major where if you're not if you're below the cut line, maybe once in a while, if you're one below, you'll get in. But if you're 3 or 4 below the cut line, anything other than right dirt, you have no shot of getting in. But right dirt, because of that Thursday night thing, and because horses can actually run in the qualifiers and retire, leads to people either forgetting to enter or horses retiring and therefore opening up lower slots. But so was that one you were sharing with Zook? Is that one? This is me and
my friend Tish. He was another. He was another person that we streamed with on Pony Plug. So
nice.
The old Pony Plug crew did very good last week with
it's great.
with majors, and Zook getting more wins by himself.
You guys have more major wins than
for a while.
How many major wins does Stens have? You guys might have more than him. You might have more than him yourself.
I was told season 17, 18, 19 there was going to be potential. So if not this season, maybe in the next or the next one after that.
Maybe you should give him some pointers.
Nah, he knows more than me.
Yeah, he knows more than just about anyone.
That's what I heard. I was looking, like when I was hunting for that video, the top watched streams are all the ones with Stens and you on it. Maybe there's watching it for you, but
nah, I doubt it.
Those
early ones, he really, like if I was starting out in the game, anytime someone would ask me, like I'm starting out, what do I do? I'd just be like, watch Stens' streams or watch Stens on your stream, because he really laid out things very well for newcomers.
Yeah, I don't think that they should be laid out that way, but I also don't think a lot of things should be the way they are. What do I don't have a profile picture, so my opinion doesn't matter.
Well, you don't have a clay nose?
No, I don't have a stylish stud or a clay nose. Yeah, I'm not. It's too rich for my blood. These clay nose.
Yeah.
One clay nose race. That'd be nice. Bet on some dinosaurs.
We're still waiting for the Bonk race, aren't we?
Yeah, we're waiting for a lot. We're gonna talk about waiting. We're waiting for a lot.
So while I'm kind of calm in here, I'm just gonna say once again, I love Photo Finish Live. I love the game. I thank Ian for creating it. It's been a godsend. It's been great, and that's just a disclaimer. If I start going on a rant, keep that in the background. Don't nerf my horses, please.
Yeah, too late.
The JJs you can nerf, not mine.
Yeah, well, he deserves punishment for showing up late anyway. It's not like he didn't know 7:30 was the start time for a week now.
So what do you think? Now you've been a beneficiary of this, but do you think too much of the meta now is strictly on free rolls? I mean, I'm doing the math. They're giving $120,000 away just on the majors, right?
I will say this. I have been saying for the last few weeks to anyone, if your horse is eligible, try and enter one. All you have to do is get in. Like I said, especially after me, I'm telling you, Mr. B, I will never, ever, ever figure it out how the worst horse wins and the best horse loses in some races. I can never tell you. It's only the thing is variance to me, but after winning with an 0 for 18 horse, winning a major, it does not matter. If your horse can get into a free roll, try and get in. Because even if you don't have a chance, you have a chance, essentially. Like, it's weird.
Sure.
I don't know that I like we used to call them, government cheese back in the Z days. Mm-hmm. Not trying to make the comparison there, but we're doing free rolls and they did free rolls. But giving too much might be a thing. Could be a little dangerous, but
it's not the absolute dollar amount. It's more it's all concentrated in a handful of races, right? So your horse's whole racing career, it basically comes down to for any top horse.
Yeah.
Okay. Certainly S- and above, and more realistically S and S+. Your whole racing profitability now really comes down to one race. Ian came up with a really interesting concept about aging and the breeding and all that. And yet it's almost irrelevant, because if you have a horse that is late developing, where are you going to make your money?
Yeah.
There's no earnings once you get to 4 years old. there's the benchmarks at 70 and 90. Half the races don't fill for large purses. So like your whole racing career comes down to
2 and 3
major. And so like, what are we breeding for? What are we doing? We're just, it's fun. There's a lottery aspect to it. So I get that. You have to be, and you know, chip in a chair or rich strike, and yeah, your horse wins. That's great. I don't have a problem with long shots winning big races, but you know, the entire horse racing world, even though the Kentucky Derby is the biggest race, it's not all the money in horse racing doesn't go to the Kentucky Derby, and every other race means nothing throughout the rest of the year. Like the purse of the Derby isn't even that large compared to other races.
This is something that was also that I preached about back in the early days when Sten was up. We were talking about it. It's like, what are we breeding for? What are we breeding towards? What is the goal for breeding? Like the first 10 to 12 seasons was pretty much breed to sell, because you were just mashing A's with S's and all this other shit. There was no real strategy in it, but there were stables that were doing it the other way. But like, what are we breeding for? Like, you make your money as a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old for the most part, like you said. Well, I don't know if you said that, but that's the way I look at it. And then you have nothing as an older horse.
It's even
if
it's
claiming
exacerbated even more now with the way the majors are compared to the other opportunities to kind of make money. So it's actually gotten worse, not better.
Yeah, I listen, man. We're in a weird spot right now. It's definitely a weird spot.
You bring up, like, you know, what do you breed to? It's a good question. Now we got rid of, we didn't get rid of, we got claimers, then we added the benchmarks. We were fading out the restricted, grade restricted and the multi-grade allowance races, right? Now we're going back to grade restricted and multi-grade allowance races again. So if I have an A+ mare, what's my strategy? Am I still supposed to just get because when you have grade restricted, you want to have the strongest, the top A+ is way, way, way better than a mediocre S-, or even, you know, a good S-. So are we breeding to create the best A+ horse, the best S- horse, the best A horse, the best A- horse? If that's the game, tell us and we can breed to it. But it's very hard to do that when something's being faded out, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, here we are again. So like, what am I supposed to do? You know, I get that you need to make changes on the fly, okay? There's certain things they need to do to try to make the game better, and everything can't be planned out way, way ahead of time. It's nice if it can, but for the things that can be planned ahead of time, let us know what the fuck's going on. Well, there's Sten's talking about the fleet figures that in the benchmark races. That's another thing. Yeah. But it's just complicated, and I think for a long time, with the price of Crown, a lot of the holes in the schedule and the way things were set up were kind of papered over because everyone was just printing money.
Yes.
But they didn't really put I wouldn't say they didn't put the effort in. I don't know what the schedule. I've had issues with the schedule for a while, but you know, I like to complain. But I think at this point, they really need to put some thought into what's going on. And I don't know, you know, I don't know what they're going to do. Whatever they do, I just kind of want them to tell us, this is what we're going to do. This is why we want to do it. And here's when we're going to do it, rather than, we're about to make these changes and we're going to make them tomorrow, or we're going to make them in 2 weeks when you don't have a chance to do anything. And it's just kind of like, let us know what the game plan is and we can adapt to it.
Poker Player has rumors. Rumors are Mr. B wants to focus the schedule on fleet figure races. Is that true?
I don't even know what fleet figure races are. Are we talking about benchmarks?
I believe that is what he's talking about.
Was that British spelling? What was that? That's Euro spelling with it. What's with that fucking
Scottish? He's Scottish. Show some respect, all right?
Scottish, yeah. I know it's one of those British islands. I can't keep.
Jesus Christ. All right. Let me get. All right. Well, I shouldn't have to worry about muting, but the big stable looking out for the little guy. Must be nice. You gotta get some stuff on your wall back there. Where's that golf simulator at?
Yeah, well, threw around the idea of a horse mural there for a bit, but wife decided not to go that route. So
how about a balloon arch with a horse underneath it. Instead of the roses, you have a balloon arch as your championship.
Yes.
Now we're brainstorming.
Like that. So,
Mr. B got a little bit of steam out before you got on. I'm sure you have.
Well, let's talk about breeding and the change. There's a good example. The changes to the breeding. I honestly, they should make whatever the changes they think are best for the game. But once again, people have been making suggestions about changing breeding fees for like a year. Okay, so if you're going to make the changes, tell us in April you're going to change it in June or July. Let people are literally buying horses to breed internally. You're buying a stud to breed internally, and then the next day they announce, oh yeah, we might change the breeding fees, or we're going to change it, but we don't know what we're going to have yet. And let's have a poll. Like, that's not really something that we should have a poll about. All right.
I don't know about the poll. That's behind a wall that I'm not allowed on the other side of.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have profile pictures. My opinion doesn't matter. All right. Damn it.
Well, I have profile pictures, and my opinion doesn't really matter either.
Pretty soon, everyone's going to have a profile picture, right? Because they're going to be very, very cheap out of nowhere. I agree with Mr. B though. Like, whatever these changes they want to make, they're making them for a reason. They're not telling us what that reason is, right? If they want to make more money, fine. Like, let them make more money. But don't leave it up to every single person to throw out every single opinion there is, because then, like, where do you get? Like, you wasted Paul Fleetwood's time reading Discord. Like, what did he actually take out of it? Like, I don't know. But
the prime example of them, the prime example of what we can compare that to was the Schedules R stuff. There was 10 people selected. It should have been a closed forum. The public should have not been able to read it, and it would have been fine. But like, you shouldn't be. I don't think letting people decide what your actions are. Like, obviously, taking feedback from the community is one thing, but using a poll to decide what that feedback's going to be is another. But yeah, I will agree with both of you that I think with something like the game that we play, where there's things being planned out for a couple seasons in advance, we should definitely have a long enough heads up that something
everything should just
happen.
have a
Not
heads
just
up, right?
Not just like the site not working. Like, oh, there's
just say,
I would let us know. Like, just so we can plan for that. But
right, yeah, you don't just say, oh yeah, in a week and a half we're gonna do this. Like, I've been in Discord to beat that drum for forever now. Like,
well, you're relatively new to Discord.
The breeding cycle takes 90 days to see anything come from it, unless you're just dumping a fall on full state, right? So 90 days of time wasted because all of a sudden they say, oh, we're going to do this. Like, they just have to somehow eventually get ahead. I don't know how they do it. The schedule should be posted for 3 months, right? I heard from a new stable yesterday. Hey, I bought this S- horse, think it might be really good for the the 70 fleet figure or whatever free roll, because it's a left dirt sprinter next season. I was like, oh, you mean the one that's going to change because they put a dummy schedule out and it copies over to seasons that don't know anymore? Like, you can't do it like this. You can't do that 15 months in. Like, you have to get ahead so people can. We're at this point now where people aren't printing money, right? Like, the changes before, like in season 3 or 4, yeah, everyone, didn't matter what change you made, everyone was still just gonna like make money because crown semis were flowing. There was a low population of fillies, so there wasn't a bazillion horses on the market. Like, the game was new. Now,
audio.
I bought a Colt because I can use it 4 times for $40 instead of $200 paying somebody $50 5 times. Like, and now all of a sudden that horse that they bought they're going to pay the same price. Like, so I'm nothing against changing the price, but they need to lead the charge, give you lead time into these changes, and just, it's their game. Like, they tell us to build your old game all the time, but then they come in and are like, what? Oh, we're just going to ask everyone for their biased opinions. And of course, the person who breeds in-house for $10 doesn't want to pay $20 because that's how they set their stable up. Like, what do you expect to hear? Nobody's unbiased in any of their opinions.
I will say this about the schedule. I would like, like I said, again, we're planning. Now it's more, we're hyper competitive now. There is no more breed to sell. There is no more farm crown. There is none of that shit. It's all gone. It's been gone for a few months, but people are still trying to hold on to that. But having the schedule reviewable 2 weeks before the season starts would be fucking swell, I think, to plan out as you're going. Now, is that something that's probably going to ever happen? No, I doubt it. But that's something that happens IRL. They release the schedule 3 weeks before it actually starts, so that way you can plan your horses, workout routine, blah, blah, blah. But again, this is, there is no cost of maintaining horses here, none of that shit, but it's the same concept.
The concept should apply to at least the free rolls, right? Post those till Christmas.
Yeah. Like if that's not going to happen from now until the foreseeable future, yes, post them and let me know when they are, because now that's, like we talked about it earlier, what are we breeding for? What are we breeding towards? That at least gives us something to breed towards.
Right.
It's not a solution. Like there still has to be a little bit more, but
right. The 70 fleet figure free rolls just popped up, and it just so happened to say, congrats to whoever had that horse, because nobody planned for it. Nobody was like, dude, I hope I get the fucking best horse that can't crack 70 fleet figure. Nobody bred for that horse. Nobody tried. People were just gifted that on the schedule. Right. And then, in 3 months, you might start going for that. And then they're going to be like, actually, that was a bad idea. Maybe we don't have 70 feet. And it's like, well, fuck. Well, I did take my S filly and to try to go down to a horse that's going to max out or peak at is a 70 fleet figure, and it has the opportunity to run a 77 by the time it's 3 years old or whatever. Like, people do chase the free money, especially in today's economy where the free rolls are making and breaking a lot of people's volume, right? You win a free roll, you can do a lot more cool shit in the breeding barn. You can buy stuff on Foals Day, but if you don't, it's tight margin.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, it's just the random nature of some of the stuff. I mean, it doesn't really matter. They're not giant purses. So, coming up on Thursday, there's 4 open 2-year-old races, right? But even those are just kind of random. You have to get lucky that not only do you have to have let's pick right turf, right? Not only do you have to have a good right turf horse with earnings, it has to be a sprinter and it has to be firm. So it's earnings based, right? So what's going to happen? People that have had good right turf, soft distance horses, they're still going to run in that race because it's a free roll.
Right. You have probably one of the highest earning 2-year-olds, right? Right now, you're going to enter him.
Well, why wouldn't you enter it? Why would you not enter a horse that meets it's a free roll? You got nothing to lose, right? So you're going to run a distance horse in a sprint because there's only one right turf 2-year-old free roll, and it happens to be 5 furlongs and it's 20%, right? So if I have a horse that specializes at 11, 12 furlongs and it's soft, and I have $100,000 in earnings or whatever number that meets the cutoff, why aren't I going to run in that race? I probably will. Free roll, you're going to have, 8 to 10 horses in there that probably don't even belong in the race, don't even want to really run in it, but it's the only option there. So, and can you plan for that?
You're not missing out on something else that day by killing that day. Like, there's not, the $200 entries aren't filling with 10 people because
right. I think there actually is one that day, but God knows if it's going to fill, right?
Right.
So it just, you can't breed for that. It's just kind of a random element. Like, oh, okay, this season it looks like it's a 5 furlong right turf one. So what's the purpose of that? If you want to have 2-year-old rising star races, have multiple distances, just like we do for the majors. Okay. Otherwise, I'd rather you just had more money in various free rolls, or have I'd really rather have stakes races with money added rather than necessarily everything having to be a free roll. That way, you want to run in the race, you put up a couple $100 and they'll throw a couple of $1,000 on top of that. That's an interesting race because the horses are going to run in that
they have a chance.
I'm going to run in that race. I'm not going to run an 11 furlong specialist or a distance specialist in a 5 furlong right turf 20% race. If I have my horses, 11, 12 furlongs RTS, I'm not going to do it and spend $200, even if they throw money on top of it, because I don't really have much of a shot. But if it's not going to cost me anything, why wouldn't I run in that? Like I said, it's just arbitrary. You're just like, oh, it just so happened that I lucked into a right turf sprinter 2-year-old this year, I get a big piece of pie.
Yeah, they keep calling it, a game of skill, but really when it comes down to anything right now, it's all what did Richie put on the schedule. I mean, this weekend, the 270 fleet figure races for the right turf are 1 furlong apart.
Yeah.
1 furlong. There's 8 of them.
At least one of them 0% and the other's 80%. So
do you think? Yeah, I mean, it could have if it's truly random, and we could have gotten 2. We could have gotten a 7 and a 6 furlong, 80%. And then what good does that do you? Like,
right. And then if you have a horse who's like at a 71, right? You're going to do whatever you can do in the next few days to try to get its fleet figure down to 70 so you can qualify, right? Because a 71 is probably not going to win and beat the best horses. You've got an S horse that's okay. Maybe you get lucky and you have a very late developing S plus that didn't really run much as a 2-year-old and then or run well as a 2-year-old and has blossomed. But more likely than not, you're looking for an S horse that basically is peaking at the right time and has the earnings. And if a horse is better than that, if a horse is 75 or 74 running, you're not going to win the big race, okay? So you're basically rewarding a horse for being worse. How would you lower their fleet? Yes, sandbagging, exactly. You have to run
the 2 kings, I would say, of the current sandbag matter.
I think it's harder to tank it than it was that first season that they did it.
It definitely is, because fleet figures sometimes bounce all over the fucking place. You can run a 9th and put up a 76. So you think you're going to tank, and then
I tanked one like 2 seasons ago, and it took me like 3 or 4 races it didn't move, and then I got one that it dropped me like tons. So it's like not.
Well, there's also the one that when they first introduced them and you pointed out, look, how many did you win in a row? 10 or 11 with the horse?
Well, that was before. Like the number just didn't change. So once you had it, if you ran it, they didn't adjust it. But in the current form, it's like it's doable. And now my horse is older, so it ended up not really mattering. It should have been dropping naturally, but older horses' fleet figures don't adjust down as fast as they should. They're basically just dead. Like
I have a 5-year-old S colt with probably 50 races, 3 wins, and its overall fleet figure is 75.
Yeah.
So there's no getting that down, unfortunately.
Yeah, I have horses like that where it's like, mid-70s S that's way past its peak. It doesn't race those, but the number doesn't budge.
The one thing that was brought up when we were fighting and letting them know that sandbagging would be a thing was, who's going to pay to do that? There's nothing really to target. Now there is something to target, and it's these
exactly.
Yeah, you weren't going to do it for your shot at your 6-field benchmark race.
You're going to do it for something like this.
Free money to it. You're going to freaking do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Listen, play the game how the game is constructed. If that's a way to get in, then I literally have no. I'm not going to complain that you're doing it, because where's the same?
How long is it going to be there, and what are we breeding for? And we're really going to try to race our horses now so that we can get exactly a 70 fleet figure and enter a free roll, with a horse that's actually better than the competition because they set an arbitrary number. Who's this ramification? Is that the left dirt one that's 8 for 8 with the weak refs?
Left dirt sprinter, yellow sprinter.
8 for 9. 8 for 9.
Well, he finally lost then. He must have lost today.
Finished 3rd.
He lost to Comish's horse. Commish told everybody on Twitter. Can't believe you didn't see it.
So wins the maiden, wins an 8K, wins an 11K, a 15K, 22, 20, 12, 12, and then gets beaten a 3K.
Wait a minute. You're telling me that Commish won a race and told everyone about it? No way.
That's not real.
No, that's not Commish.
Did that happened? Oh, Zook finished 2nd. Zook's very high on this horse, so he's going to give him a run for his money.
That poor horse named after the worst offensive coordinator in the league. Unbelievable.
Yeah, well, you want to fight with him, you can fight with him about it. He names his entire stable is named after fucking Steelers, all right? Let me tell you that.
Commish is all racing now. He's He's taken over left turf, right? I think Eddie's actually said he's retiring because he's just given up the commish. And Stenz is basically almost on the verge of quitting too because commish is just dominating.
If he doesn't get a win soon, a big win soon, it might be the end. They might actually fire him.
Selling horses for $10, he'll be good, man.
$6.66.
Ruining the game one sale at a time.
Listen, you guys see ruining the game. I see helping smaller stables. All right, you should understand that, RVA.
Well, if he sold his good horses, that'd be one thing.
That's all. Yeah, I guess that is the kicker. Weird horse. Yeah, I don't know about that, but yeah, I mean, good horse, I guess. Sabotage, that is. Is Arthur Smith any better? Yeah, but that ramifications, I don't know what to think of that one. It's obviously a good horse.
It's surprising, given those prefs, that it's been that good. But
yeah. And Zoom Zephyr, of all things. Unbelievable.
Well, that's good. I mean, horses like this are good. You kind of want, horses that people wouldn't expect to be that good to do great. Every once in a while you're going to have. Now, this is obviously not a low-rent horse, but it is good. It's a great thing about the game. Since I've been bashing it for the last 30 minutes,
is nice things. All right.
Finding horses and the breeding. The way the breeding works is generally very good. I don't really have complaints with that. You do have horses leapfrogging. You get horses just coming out of the blue, but not too many. So yeah. I think the mechanics of that and the way it's been done is actually is very, very good.
Another rose. Yeah, that's one thing I sit up here and I say a lot is like if the breeding was stale and predictable, this game would suck ass. But it's not boring and predictable. It's just every season you're trying to put pieces of a puzzle together that are never going to be complete. And you're always going to be trying to get that next piece that connects a big your major winner. Like, all right, you got those together. Now what's next? You got to try again. Like,
if you look at the qualifiers for right turf this week, I think Sowers has 2 S-minuses that jump to S+ that are like top candidates for the the sprint and the 10 furlong.
Well, I looked at one earlier today too.
I'm starting to see a lot more of these S-minuses pop, and when they pop, they have 8 preferences, whereas when your S pops, they're 4.5. So, the Big Brain's got a 2-year-old that's like that. I mean, I'm starting to see a lot more of these horses. So if you go to the Sprint Series leaderboard, I can't say his horse's name. Tumakupa. One.
Yeah, hit him with that Tumakupa.
That horse was an S and an S- that made an S+. Well,
that's what I was saying earlier when I saw the one, because the S-, it has green stats, so it has to be pulling from here somewhere. It has to.
And then his other one is Dancing Lady or something like that. It's like the opposite. I have a horse named.
Pardon me 1 second. I don't believe any of the knockout races are happening tonight. I believe they canceled. I will double check and I will let you know, poker player. All right. Continue, RVA. My bad.
So he has 2 horses that are.
Is that Scottish humor? Is he joking?
Listen, I don't know, man. He might be serious because hardcore races are so great. So why wouldn't they pop off? I think that's what he's trying to get to.
I think he's being a wise ass.
He might be, but I accept it because honestly, hardcore races are so great. He's trying to get me started because I went on a little tangent earlier about hardcore races, but everyone that's been here and has listened to me knows how I feel about them. Yeah, he gets it. He gets it. Well, it's my house. I can do whatever I want, Stens. But no, go ahead, JJ. Sorry, but yeah, I think it's pulling from somewhere. It has to only make sense that way. But what is your
that Franklin Saint? Yeah, I mean that Franklin Saint horse was an S, but it had like 2 big outlier. Just lots of outliers to the good. So I guess as long as you can hit speed or temper with it, like it's gonna go. So
I did.
I was just giving 2 very, very off the top of the mind because they're in the qualifiers this month. Examples of the outlier breeds, because you guys were saying like breeding's good. You're having the leapfrogs, and you said that's That's an S minus filly. What is that? What's that horse cost on the market right now for that S minus that hit that?
This?
Like, that's got 2 A+ stats and 1 S minus. Like that. What's that horse cost?
Let's see.
Yeah, probably like 10K.
Like 15K, and then
no, less than that.
a 10, and then a 10K
I mean,
breed.
now it's thrown 2 S pluses, so it actually might be worth something.
Yeah, but just in general.
Oh wow, he got 2.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's both
with that same pairing. He's got it twice. Wow.
On both. Wow.
So not that one specifically, obviously. Maybe there's something to that pairing.
Mr. B's pockets this month. Wow, how fortunate. Mr. B's so rich. Jeez.
Yeah. So I guess I'm just saying, how that's a 15K horse with a 10K breed with little. The other one was Little Queenie. Franklin Saint might be 4K.
Franklin Saint is 4K. I went there this month.
So that's like 20K Derby to maybe get that horse right now. Now it has to age 3 months. And like, okay, what's the competition like in 3 months? Like, is there going to be a crop of SS minus? It's like, I don't know, but yeah.
It is interesting how certain pairings though seem to be better pairings. And then you just kind of run it back again and again, right? If you get a good pairing and then other ones kind of suck, and you don't necessarily want to do that again. So it's probably mostly random, but I think certain combinations of a sire and a mare just click, if you will, and you're more likely.
Like puzzle pieces, if you would.
I think there's something to that for sure. I mean, you can see some on breeding reports where just like one stat will just be so much better than a ton. Like, I think I can't, who was it in chat? Somebody just said Guy Stables, maybe. Sowers is running 9,000 breeding reports per mare. Yeah. So like he probably found something with that one. It's a very popular colt. So it wasn't like he found some diamond in the rough colt. A lot of people have hit Franklin Satan and had success, but he probably ran that mare. Yeah, against all the other top ones, and saw something that he liked in that report, and it hit twice.
Yeah, Sowers is a breeding whiz.
All right, here's the one from Wolof from earlier that I noticed as well. This one jumped, and it was just from Ace King, but it had A+ and then 2 S- stats, and it jumped to S+. And this one's not terrible. Like it's a running horse.
You're not cheering.
Not profitable yet, but
I'm not seeing it.
Oh shit, my fault. I have
just seeing your mug.
I have our dumb idiot faces up there. Here we go. So Immutable.
Wow.
S- filly, went to Ace King and popped out S+.
Wow. Look at those.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, when you get these S minuses that pop, look at that. I mean, now I guess Right Dirt Firm.
That doesn't even have great preferences to begin with. Look at that. That's only
a little easier to get, I guess, on the
5.5 preferences.
Prime time's preferences just carry through so well. We've seen it time and time again. But yeah, that horse had gone down, and then when you see these S minuses pop, you're getting an 7-8 preference S+ versus a 4 or 5 pref mediocre S+. So
yeah, I guess when you get multiple generations down, you look at the wicks on the breeding reports for preferences, and they're much wider. So I don't know that this was guaranteed to obviously.
Oh no, definitely not.
7.5, but you have the variances such that it's possible, and you see that more often.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just have 2 Gen Zeros, it's pretty binary, right? It's like, oh, okay, you don't have a big swing as to what it could be. You pretty much know, okay, it's going to be between 2 and 3 here, or 2.5 and 3.
Stens wants to know what the JPEG Horsey Maxis think VIP tiers going forward with the crown vouchers. What they think about it.
I'm going to abstain. I got all my thoughts out to Ian in text.
I'd say y'all had thoughts on. I had some thoughts on it too, but I don't own any profile pictures, so
I'm not even sure what the current proposal they're saying is. Is it you're going to still need 20 to get the free breeding reports, but you're going to have to batch them all together into one?
Yeah, basically, it sounds like, and again, maybe something was lost in text, so I told him, I was like, we're going to talk about more of this, like, we can hop on a stream and chat about it, but to me, it sounded like you basically have to get to 20 to become an exec, and to do that, you're killing or burning the PFPs into a new NFT that just is called like exec. But I mean, how often are people trading in and out of these assets? There's only never going to be so many available. I just don't like it from that standpoint. But
call him up.
Yeah, I'll ask him in the Telegram group chat.
I should just drop the link to him just cause and see what happens.
Maybe I mean, very, very easily could have been missing something in the chat. I mean, you know how those chats get when people are responding 8 lines after somebody else, and God knows I don't read all the comments. But
I chimed in a couple of times, and I was like
it doesn't solve anything to me. Like,
well, you got to be careful.
You say it's easier for somebody to like buy one NFT versus 20, but like, is it something that he's just gonna buy in the app? Like, is it because you can just like basically pay Derby instead of Sol? Like, I don't know what it solves, and it just makes it.
Well,
it just makes it where you can't trade in and out of them. But I mean, I don't know.
I guess it really depends on what is the purpose of having one. What is the value of having 5? Or is it the only value in having 20?
Yeah, is there going to be anything else, I guess? Because, I mean, what's the only use for them now? You get to talk in the secret club, and you get breeding reports if you have 20. And
race or you get race report 5.
But what's a race report do? Has anyone figured it out yet?
It just gives you splits.
Okay.
Did I see someone ask about morning line odds?
Yeah, I was gonna wait for the JJ to get done so that way he could get his breath back again.
No, I think I'm done. Like I said, I don't really understand the changes
we're getting on morning line odds now. So now you got to get your breath back again. What are your thoughts around morning line odds? Do you know what's taken into airbrush? I account to get that number. What the fuck?
I don't know what the airbrush I account.
Listen, BB, I'm fucked in the head.
It might be a little.
You got to give me a clear sentence.
That's the autocorrect from his iPhone.
But listen, my stance on morning line odds is I like to use them as a guideline. I don't think they 100% dictate the outcome of the race. Obviously, no morning line odds do that. They give you an idea of who should be the favorite, but I'm not putting everything into them. Like I haven't been. I've always just used them as a guideline, but I don't know how. I mean, I know the JJ has his views on it. Mr.B, I don't know if I ever got your take on it.
The problem is you got me and JJ on this, and we're both kind of anti-morning line people, where other people are more. I can tell you what their argument is, even if I don't necessarily buy it. It's good. It's very good for the maidens in that you can get a sense as to whether you have a total dog or not. So if it's an S-, let's say, grade restricted maiden, and there's 10 horses in it, and the varying odds are between 8 and 11 to 1, and your horse is 14, and it comes in last, you're fucked. That horse is going to suck. But by and large, and it can maybe help you narrow down your distance preference, but I never really paid much attention to it. I just run it a few times, kind of come up with a distance preference, look at the record, and move on from there. But I think it probably can help if you pay attention to it. But once it's run a few times and has a track record, I don't know that it's really going to help you. It might help you, like I said, get rid of horses or realize, okay, this one's just a dog. I'm not going to spend a lot of time and energy trying to figure anything out with this horse because he's going to lose. And I'll stick it in a claimer or I'll put it on the market and hope someone buys it. Maybe there's value in that, but I don't pay a lot of attention. I think Zed people in particular maybe pay more attention to it because I think it provided a tremendous amount of information in Zed. I didn't play Zed, but that's what I heard. So I think there's a little bit of bias from that where they maybe overestimate the importance of the morning line, but I'm sure there's something to it because pretty smart people have told me that there is something to it, and I probably just was too lazy to look into it. So I'm sure there's something there, but I don't think it's like that important. It's most important in a horse's first few starts where you're trying to kind of figure out what you have, and I think there's probably some value there.
Yeah, I've actually kind of changed my stance on them. I think the way I think about them now is it's kind of like any other tool that third time gives us in the game, right? So fleet figures, time, morning line odds, like you get all these things in a big macro sense, like they tell you enough, but like at the very, like they also then just don't tell you anything. I feel like is kind of like my approach for a lot of the stuff, right? Like, they don't, you have to kind of like remove stuff to make anything out of them. So like Mr.B said, they're very good for like a maiden where every horse is the same grade. And you can see that as soon as you start throwing in S pluses with S's or S minuses with S, like the S plus is going to be favored a lot of times over the S, even if it has no chance of winning. Preferences also are not, from what I can tell, considered in there. So like you throw a 3-star out there on a fast track, like it's probably not winning over the horse that has 9 preferences or whatever. Like, so you kind of have to know what you're, take it as a grain of salt. But if you do get a field like a maiden where, everything's kind of even keel on that, like, and you do get, an outlier to the good or bad. Maybe you can make some inferences. I had a horse that kind of like made me believe, like I just revealed it last it was a 3 preference filly, so it won actually like 3 or 4 times with like 3 preferences, so, and it always had good odds, so that made me like pretty excited to see, like, okay, does this thing have good stats underneath? And it did. So that was kind of like pointing me to be like, okay, like I think the Dark Knight or last night Crypto Hogs LDF was another one that pulled really good odds but was a little bit lower preferences, and ended up having a really sick reveal. So I think it's almost more helpful for like these horses that aren't like Mr.B said, you have a really good horse with preferences, the fleet figures and the wins are going to tell you that you have a good horse. You're not going to look at the morning odds after its first 3 races because you won 10 furlong, with an 84 fleet figure as a 2-year-old. Like, you just know that horse is good. You don't need to look at the odds anymore. But I think it's actually pretty helpful for some of these lower preference horses that you can't tell based on the results because they don't have those preferences, that maybe, there is actually going to be a pretty good reveal underneath there. But there's some weird races, like I can't make anything of it, where like if it's not full, you start everybody has like 4x odds, right? Like there's no difference, like it just basically evens out. But you basically need like a full field of 12 horses and a similar grade, and then preferences, and then I think you actually can maybe get something early on. But to Mr. B point, like I don't check them after 5 races with a horse. I just feel like I can tell based on all the other stuff. I'm not going to be like, oh, I wonder if he's got good odds this race. Like at that point, you should be racing him where kind of the results tell you.
I think I can.
I'm not reading chat. Are we laughing at chat?
Yeah, fucking Sten's is trolling. Sten said change JJ's profile description to moneyline odds maxi.
So funny story is I actually private messaged Carter and I was like, think I might be becoming an odds guy. And he was like, God damn it, we did it. Like, I was like, but you can't tell Stens. I was like, you can't tell Stens.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Looking at odds, so I guess he held up his bargain and didn't tell Stens that he got to me.
To jump back to, Mr. B, do you have any more to add on morning line?
No, I mean, I think one of the comments was that, they changes as they get older, but then it might take racing into account there, and then it becomes even less.
I think it's kind of like the selection committee, right? The selection committee, they say, doesn't work until it has three races, right? Well, then how are they going to do the odds the same way? Like, they're going to do something to kind of make it where it's not fucking obvious until there's race data. And then once there's race data, then maybe fucking Can Pork Chop always pulls fucking 3x odds because he literally won 80% of his races.
Yeah.
And you don't need that. By that time, you don't need the odds to tell you that horse is going to fucking win.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Jump back onto a breeding question. Thoughts on tiering breeding fees on higher class to lower class studs, S plus to B minus seems unbalanced. I know back in the before 4 time, that was something that was brought up to Ian about the gap. I personally don't have an opinion on it because I don't have a large enough stable to warrant giving one because it doesn't really affect me that much for breeding. I don't mind. Listen, I'm going to play the game. I don't care. I'm one of the few people here that it doesn't matter what they do. I'm always going to play the game. So my opinion is not going to be the same as others. I believe Stens was on the opposite side of it. I don't know where you two sit. Just make things worse, like recent control or right rank control and IRL. All right. So that's where he sits on it. Where do y'all sit on the tiered breeding fees?
I think you're going to create more problems trying to gear that than it's worth. So I understand the rationale and why people would want it, but the notion that they're going to implement that in a way without creating side effects that were not unanticipated and creating a whole new set of problems, I don't see it. So I mean, you could argue. You're saying what, like lower the minimum breeding fee for
tiering breeding fees on higher class to lower class. So S plus B.
You get a B plus stud, you pay $5. Look, here's my thought on it. 1, third time should change it to whatever drives the economy and the horse population towards what they want. If they don't want people hanging out at B horse races for fucking 4 years, then they shouldn't do it, right? If they don't care if there's B horses for 10 years, then I don't see any problem with it. The problem is we've seen it across the whole ecosystem. The people spending more money drives everything, right? If horses are worth more, they can put more money in, then they're spending more on breeding, they can put more on free rolls. It kind of drives everything. So one hit of an S plus that's charging $500 still is worth, infinite number of B horses getting hit for $1. So if we're at the point where they don't care and they think, there's enough horses and people can start segmenting however they want, then I don't give a shit. Like, I think it's whatever. But if they want to keep driving people to evolve the population and leave some of these grades behind, then no, they shouldn't do it. But I think it's up to third time to drive us towards their goal instead of letting us dictate how we want to do it. That's just my opinion.
Well, it also ties in with the schedule. This is what we were talking about.
Right. That's I guess I was trying to say, like, basically, like, if they want to build a schedule that says we don't want all these, it's already hard enough for them to build a schedule that makes any sense from B to S plus. How hard is it going to be to go from B to SSS? Like, it just makes it even more complicated. So I always have thought that they wanted us to hit this. Everybody breed up fast as shit because you can breed for $50 or $10, and everyone just kind of gets reclumped again, right? We've seen it's way harder to get past S plus. It's really fucking easy to get to S. Now all these horses are much closer. Now the problem is the horses haven't died yet. So we still have all these Gen Zeros that still have like 8 more babies to come. Like, at this point, K2 is having a baby every month. K2's first foal, second foal, third foal, fifth. If you hit 5 mirrors in a row at K2, you can have 5 babies that are all qualifying in the same grade restricted, free roll every single month. And that's the problem. I think that's not letting them get to the point where I think they wanted everyone to kind of just reclump up. And then it becomes a skill game where it's like, how do I do this little thing to separate myself instead of there just being this huge gap and range of horses for infinite number of seasons. And I think the thing that they dropped the ball on was allowing us to breed these Gen Zeros, and any horse for that matter, for 2 fucking years in real life, not let alone game time. Because the snowball is just so big. And I just think that's the issue. I think Ian's been very proud of his the ability that he's put in, that horses die and do this, and you're always turning over and the best horses aren't born yet. But it's drug on. It's those Gen Zeros are still taking. I think a lot of people think we need to spread out covers and the big stables are the ones getting all of it. But that's more by game design than anything. That Prime Time has been able to breed for 18 seasons or whatever it's been, right? Like, that's kind of what I think is the bigger detriment to like kind of where we are in the ecosystem is like nothing's died. Like if they're gonna live till 25, they can't have the same baby at 25 as they did at 4, right? Like there should have been, and I don't know if that's real life or not. Like maybe in real life your 25th fucking filly, your 25th mare is just as likely to be a Kentucky Derby winner as your first. But like again, we're a video game, and you have to understand the consequences that the same horse and its baby and the fact that we haven't jumped so far past those Gen Zeros to make them irrelevant is like really compounding right now, because it has become a volume game of, well, I'll hit K2 and K2's 6 fillies all to the one colt, and one of them is going to produce a monster, right? Like that's not skill. That's just K2 is the gift on. It's the best. It's the best. It was the best asset I think to hold pre-live. Looking back, like K2 was just,
especially with left turf, because
with the fact that there were no fillies at the top,
and
you can cycle through all the 101s and just the fact that
there were no left turf firm as well, so that you don't have to worry about
weather. So every race, you're the best horse in it. You don't have to give anything up for weather. So, I think that's like the bigger problem to me. It's not that we are breeding in house for $10. It's that we're breeding in house with $10 with horses that should have been dead at the 12-month mark.
Yeah, well, and that was something that was also brought up in the before 4 times. Before we got too deep, was 25 is way too fucking long. Way too long.
I'm gonna make a comment here because it's tying in what we talked about earlier. That might be the case, but once again, if they're gonna make changes, I don't want to find out the day before the next season
for sure.
Starts,
it needed to be communicated 8 months in advance, like a ton of time in advance, so that people stop buying. If you want to sell them now, people will still buy them because they are going to still be able to get value out of them. Like you do have to do it right, and like I said, the longer you wait, the less likely it ever will happen. Well,
yes, always need more players. Yes,
I think that's ultimately the solution to basically all the problems. Is there are more horses each season, and the number of new players isn't keeping up with that. That's what's driving, a lot of the problems. And the stuff we're talking about, the schedule, this and this, can make the game better. But until they solve that with the number of new users going up, most of the other stuff is just playing around the edges. And the real key is exactly that, getting new users, and I'm hopeful they can.
McLovin said, I just feel like the market drives itself. Think they just want to get rid of people doing cheaper in-house breeds, and as a small stable with low funding, being able to breed cheap keeps me playing.
Yeah, so they're losing out on revenue because there's nothing taking, there's just so many studs that are similar at this point. Again, because there's been 15 seasons to hit prime time. So prime time has how many horses that are similar, right? The best ones are still the best ones, but the rest are just 4K min breeds. So you put them at 4K, so everyone can just breed for $10. Like it kind of all ties together. But yes, I totally agree. Upping the fees now doesn't hurt the big stable. It hurts the little stable who's been trying to now has enough fillies to own the stud in house to play the quantity game of breeding a ton of horses. Now they're losing out on that same skill or tactic or whatever you want to call it that larger stables employed for months.
But yeah. So going back to the breeding question again, if you're gonna breed, lower the fees for like B horses and B plus horses and whatnot, and you have a tiered thing, are those races, are you going to lower the purses and the entry fees for those races so that they're taking a smaller and smaller percentage of crown stimmies and whatnot? Are we breeding towards that? Is it going to be on the schedule? So all those things tie into what you're going to do. And it can't just be like, okay, we're going to lower the fees. It really has to tie into the schedule. And if you don't tie it into the schedule, then it's just going to be a big clusterfuck.
I'll agree with that.
And Sten's made a point. I don't know if you flash it up, but
Sten's made a point.
The big fucking paragraph book that he wrote, but it's going to cover you. No disrespect to the king.
Fun. It's worth throwing up there.
You want to talk about it? Or you want me to read it out first, or what do you want to do, JJ? You can take the lead.
You can read it out.
All right. Limit colt cover count, and you'll spread breeding without increasing costs for everyone. Raising fees as proposed doesn't change the balance of power. Changing the cover count literally does, and it hurts us more than anyone else as we continue to use 35 colors eternity for half a dozen colts every season. That's a lot.
Right. So what he's saying there is basically, if you raise the price from $10 to $20, he's still gonna use his best colts in his stable 35 times for $20. Yes, third time's gonna make a little bit more money. It's not gonna change any of his behaviors. Whereas if you take away his ability to use it 35 times, so if you either say you can only use it in-house 10 times and 25 can go external, he'll price it different for sure. Like he won't put his colts at 4K if he's not going to be able to use all of them himself. Or you reduce it down to a number that just makes it to where nobody's going to have enough colts in-house to only use their own stuff.
Average lifespan IRL, like sure you can go up to 10, but usually 6 to 8 is the cutoff. Usually you have something that can run past them. If not, it's time to cut the wheels off and let the old man retire. But yeah, racing, I think they have the cap at 8 years old. I think it's fine, but there's not even many horses that even continue to 8 because
that's kind of like my whole qualm goes back to that in terms of like you can do this completely passive, don't play the game thing called breeding from 3 to 25, and you can only truly race 2.5 seasons before your horse is dog shit and has nowhere to race on the schedule, right? Like the very, very limited 1% are really good still through their 4-year-old season. Maybe Eddie has some stuff at left turf and others, but like there's not an LD horse that's awesome at 5. Like there's always better stuff coming that have to worry about weather and everything else. So like outside of left turf where there just was such a large gap and like the best fillies are still just producing these monsters that stay monsters, like you have this what's supposed to be a racing game where you have a 2-month window to race your horse, hope you get a free roll, or you can play this passive game where as long as you're making $1 more than you spent, people are going to do it, and you get to do it for 2 full years in real life. Like that's where the whole balance of I don't care if you can actually breed in real life. I don't care if you're breeding, if your offspring don't actually, there's no peak age in breeding in real life. I don't care. It should be in this game because that's what's killing and making everyone, nobody's stopping, because as long as you can sell the horse for $11 and you made it for 10, people are going to do it. Like that's literally Solana's mantra. Like I will flip it for 1 cent profit.
What about $6.50?
Yeah, I mean,
you take a little bit of a loss.
Only have to lose 4, then that's better than losing 10.
I feel like Viper's trolling me here because this burn utility should have been better than a hardcore race. We should definitely have something like this, but again, I'm gonna hold my tongue because
hardcore race jackpot would be fine if one, it wasn't one every 6 races or whatever it is, 16 races. And 2, if it was juiced to where it started off with $1,000 in it, and
I just don't think that this is the type of game for some shit like that. Like,
no, I agree. I don't think it is either. But I think if you were going to do it, it's not going to organically grow high enough at the percentage chance to win that it is now, where you're ever going to like a colt that's 7 years old has a better chance of having a really weird stat or something that is going to get you 1 breed in the barn or could use in-house or whatever it is than versus throwing it in. Now, maybe your very, very low horses, they have no breeding value as a colt. Like, sure, you're going to, throw that scratch off in there. Maybe you win $100, but like, what's the jackpot sitting at right now? Let's see. Knockout is 12,000 dirty. So literally $150.
Yeah. So you've got a 1 in 16 chance of winning $150. That's expected value of like $10 if you win the knockout race. Like who gives a fuck?
And really all it accomplishes is getting horses out of individual stables. It's not getting horses out of the ecosystem that have value.
Yeah. And exactly, you're getting the same thing with burning horses or breeding reports. It's if you're just getting worthless horses out of the ecosystem, who cares? You're not really going to be racing those horses anyway.
I think the breeding report should stay how they are. I think if there's a burn mechanic, it should be a Derby credit for breeding or Derby credit for entry fee or handicap or whatever the hell we do. But it can't just be a 1-for-1 kind of thing. Like you're gonna have to burn multiple horses to get some value.
Yeah, like 10 horses get you 1 free breed.
Yeah, depending
on min breed equivalent, because then they're raking 20% on that. They're whatever. And
is that your dog for JJ?
Mine.
No.
When did you get dogs?
I bet my wife must have stepped out of the house and the dog freaks out when the wife's in vision, or he can smell her but he can't see her, and she just freaks out. So I think she stopped. My wife must have just showed up.
It's all right.
I was about to text her like, get in the house. The dog's freaking out.
It's very important. This is honestly a very important stream. But no,
lots of questions.
Yeah, I'm off. Listen. I'm kind of like I'm in Stenz's corner with the I've said my piece and that's it. But except I'm gonna keep streaming. I'm not gonna run away. So I've said my piece about it. They wanted hardcore races. They got them. I still think it was something that was like pushed really fast because I noticed things when I listen to stuff. The spaces where Ian found out about them, he sounded befuddled, like, oh, I guess we're doing this. But he came back and he doubled down on them on a later spaces and said, yeah, we can do this and we can do this. And it's like, all right, well, hardcore races suck now. So what now? What are we doing now? Like everyone has brought up that the jackpot is kind of like weird. It's also like it's something that could probably I think should be tiered, but I'm probably not being favored in that camp. I think they should do it like a slot progressive, where if you get, if your B+ hits, you get the B+ jackpot, not the S jackpot that puts in more of an entry fee. But that could also be similar to the tiering of breeding as well, where you said, higher late grades are going to put in more money, and that's just how it's going to work. But I think they could do a lot better with it. They haven't shown that they want to. It's been 2 months, I think, with them. And fuck, what was it? Every Sunday they run like 300 of them or something. And how many of those fill and how many of them don't? Like I feel like they have enough data now through a month of them to realize that this ain't it. Like, it was cool as like an occasional thing. I think doing it like a Hunger Games type thing, like once a month, just have a 3-day stretch where it's just like hardcore festival and then be done with it. But as an everyday thing, it's not working. And then when someone actually hits the jackpot, nobody wants to fucking enter because there's no jackpot to fight for.
Right, resets. It's like zero, whatever it is. Yeah, it's just
so like.
And like doesn't talk about like how screwed you are. It's like, oh, the race right before me 10 to go, I wouldn't have entered if it was. And I get that's like part of the risk, whatever. But I would never enter them until like the last second, knowing that it hadn't been won. Like you're not going to enter that shit 2 days in advance.
Yeah.
I've never entered one.
No, I haven't even thought once about entering one of them.
Well, I entered one and I happened to win the first one, and that was enough for me. And then I got beat by a horse that I bred, so that was enough. I'm done now. So that was it. I tried them. When I asked Bryce to put them on the menu, he said, "Oh, you're having a change of heart." I said, "No." I said, if this is what the community wants, then I will give them what they want. But since then, maybe one has fired, so it's not working. It's not working for the Monday, Tuesday streams. I don't know how it's working overall. I think there's something better we could be doing than forcing people to pay to remove trash from their stable. If they're looking for a crown sync, they can easily tie crown to like the burn thing, like pay X crown, burn X horses. Here's your credit for breeding. Here's your credit for wagering or entries. But I don't think giving breed reports for that. I think that should keep that to the profile pictures. I think that should be unique to that. And that mine might be in the camp of, why would you say something like that? Because I think that's how it should stay. I don't think we should be doing something to give more access to breed reports. I think it's one of those things like,
I think if you want to get more access to breeding reports, you just sell them at a price that makes sense. It doesn't make sense.
That too, like $50 is really tough for.
You can hit some of the best S pluses in the game for 4K Derby, a breeding reports 4K Derby. So I think there's probably a middle ground somewhere between giving them away for burning a shit horse and $50. What that number is, I don't know. Maybe I think you should do them like fucking V-Bucks or any of these other currencies that people sell in these apps, Fortnite or whatever, where it's like the more you fucking buy, we'll give you, like, you buy 100 of these things, we'll give you a huge break, and then it's just like boom, like revenue. Like that's how I would be selling them. Like fuck doing it one at a time at a price to keep them premium. Like I don't know, I'd be wanting, you know, Given to come in and buy 200 of them at a bulk price, because he would do it instead of being like, oh, I don't know what I should do.
Solid. I'm off of hardcore races now. I knew it was gonna come up, but you guys want to help out?
I'll say one good thing quickly.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna go back. The hot dog races were good. Those visuals were good. And it does potentially give them an avenue to do kind of other special races. So, you know, I think, the volume was up that day because they're giving extra stimmies. So I would discount that a little bit, but I don't think it's a bad thing. If they're going to do kind of fun stuff, I'd rather they do.
I think that's a fucking sweet thing that they did. Like, I think that is very cool, because before, like, there's a guy from Zed Chateau. He made his own, like, whatever, we'll call them shit coins because that's what they are. But like, he's building like a fantasy football aspect behind it. And now, like, I was gonna reach out to him and be like, hey, you should talk to one of these, but I stay in my lane and I let it play out. But now I see that there is something in the works with Stables or something, you know, whoever else. I'm not saying it's guaranteed. Allegedly, there's talks being had behind the scenes. But that is fucking cool, because he is a true. He's not in PFL, but he was a true member of a gaming community. He is similar to like some of our stalwarts in the game, where it's good to have them around. We'll say GVG type. He's not, you know, I mean, he's. There is only one GVG, all right. There's only one Almighty, so he's on a different tier of that, with being like a community leader and whatnot. But like things like that, where there's a trusted background, it's going to be huge for these coin races or whatever they do. And yeah, the hot dog day was pretty cool. The only thing I didn't like about it was Ian tweeting out and tagging people to enter a race that was an auto $15 race. I didn't like that at all, but it is what it is.
Well, that one was funny because that, going back to the schedule, I mean, I shouldn't even. It just shows such a lack. It shows lack of understanding of their own game, that they made one of those like $15 races this benchmark 6-year-old plus, like non-winners of 3, like 72. I mean, it was something that there were probably like 5 horses in the game entirely that realistically fit that race that would have a shot. So instead, you know, Ian pings everyone and everyone's entering like right turf horses and a left dirt race, because it was the dumbest possible race to set up as a $15, because there's no way that race was going to come close. No one was going to enter the race. It was a stupid race.
It was 5 minutes away from canceling.
It's just an example of a race on the schedule where it
doesn't belong.
It was set up, and it just, if you actually played the game, you'd be like, this is an incredibly stupid race to set up. These conditions should not even have existed. So that's why Ian tweeted it out, because it would have been worse if one of the special hot dog races had no entrance and canceled. But that was more the schedule sucked than the idea sucked, and that's why Ian tweeted that one out.
All right, run to the one percenters real quick. Juliano says from YouTube, what should small tables strive for in the current meta? The current meta will not be the current meta next month, so keep that in mind.
Right now, you want to get into a free roll. Whatever free roll you can get into it, because that's pretty much the only meta that has positive expected value at this point. Find a free roll. If you happen to have, for example, a right turf A- 2-year-old and you were racing the shit out of it for the last 2 weeks, you know, you got a chance at a free roll on Thursday night. If you have a left turf A+ distance horse, you know, I'd have been pounding the hell out of that. You know, and the same thing that first week they had those free rolls. So if you have a good horse in whatever grade, you don't even know next season what's going to be the 3-year-old, right? The ones the first week, right now the meta, there's going to be a handful of free rolls that you qualified by racing. So really, if you have a good horse, just hammer that. Just keep on running it, and then hope you get lucky and if they set up a free roll for that one. And so really find a horse, if you happen to have a horse that's good in its grade right now, you hammer it in the restricted racing and then hope you get lucky in the free roll. If you obviously have a better horse, or you try to get lucky and have a horse that's just about 70, an S or an S plus, that you can get its fleet figure to 70 and you run in that free roll. That's the meta right now. There is no other meta. Unless I'm missing something. Maybe for JJ knows something.
I think free rolls are the meta, unfortunately.
Now that might change though. I hope
might,
it
Free
does.
rolls are the meta. I mean, they just changed payouts to 4-horse races, so maybe
I did see that.
Maybe it's smart
that
to
was something that
try to
probably
win
should happen.
those. I don't know. Like, you become third now, you don't make any money, which helps out first and second. Like, you obviously shouldn't be striving for third in a 4-horse race. So
No.
It might actually make those races
I think there's
less
definitely
likely to fill now.
I think there's definitely money to be made if you can, like. I think we're starting to see there is some stuff with like progeny and like, yeah, hitting sires that were winners and their horses that were winners, and I think that's not just at the top. I think that flows through most of the grades. So like, I think there are some of these foals. Like I bought an A for like 1,500 Derby the other day, and it won like 2,000 or something. Like its first race. Like there's money to be made if you can put the time and work in. Now I don't know. Like I'm not saying that's a lot of money. I'm just saying like if you're a small stable, like you can build something and have fun and like do stuff at the smaller grades that like you're just not going to do or can't do at the top. Like you're not going to like scour the market and be like, oh, look at this 9 preference S filly from 2S plus parents, but I can't believe it's in there for 10K. Like it's just not going to be in there. But you can do that at an A plus and probably even S minus, honestly. Like I think Poker Player was bitching that he didn't get a horse from Stens or something that was an S minus that ended up winning more than it got claimed for or something in its first race.
That's the other thing that you just brought up is claimers. I honestly, I haven't paid a lot of attention to claimers lately, even though I love them. Sometimes people with too many horses, let's say someone, I don't know, like maybe Stens, wants to get rid of the horse. He just doesn't want it. Okay. And so you can buy horses in claimers, and certain people, Crush, he just kills claimers. Okay.
Crush runs one of the best stables on like how to just play the game to to understand it and play it and attack. Like go follow what that guy does. Like
Are you talking about
Crush with a K.
I would say JPEG also.
And I know they're not liked by a lot of people, but I don't know what they're called now. Bob Baffert people.
Oh, the Renault.
They play the game really well. They're kind of done some shitty things, but like
Renowned Racing.
The Neils and the Bob Bafferts of the game, I guess.
They're very good too.
Do and like copy it. Doesn't like they do it. I think at multiple levels. I think Crush does a lot of S minus stuff. He told me this past season was the first stud he's had in the stud barn, which was that Lao Fang horse, which won the Sprint Major. Like dude wasn't handed a bunch of like insane assets, but he's fucking profitable as shit playing this game.
Yeah, I would agree. Watch what
I think that's still there. It's just harder to do now because there's so much noise. Like you just have to, if you can figure out a way to filter through the noise, whether it's on Gap or Photo Finish Edge or whatever these other sites, MJ stuff, like there's ways to help filter through the noise. And if you can figure out something that works, like that's how I would attack if I was small. I wouldn't be buying up 50 fillies just to then absorb 50 breeding fees. I'd be focusing on these horses that can pay themselves off in one race, and then it's like, okay, cool. Like now I can win another race that now I can pay with the breed with that. So that's kind of how I would do it. But
it's definitely a copycat. Like I said a couple weeks ago in stream, I talked with you about it too. Like when I started breeding to win instead of breeding to sell, when that window was open, I was going through and looking at the breed logs for GVG, Tombstone, Blue Elder. I didn't look I looked in Right Turf, I looked at Mr.B's, I looked at yours, but like I'm looking and seeing because obviously y'all are fucking giant stables. You pretty much, I mean, especially Sours. If I'm mimicking Sours.
Sours is probably the best to follow because he plays in all the places too.
Yeah.
Like he's not just this RDF whale that's got all the best pieces.
And he's buying up Left Turf like the last 2 seasons.
That's
like,
the last one he hadn't joined. And dude's got stuff growing everywhere. Like he knows all the studs.
Yeah,
he's like 2 breeds ahead. He's really
too. Like if just looking and trying to find pivots from like if they're doing like a 20K stud, trying to find something that's in the 4K range that's almost similar. Obviously, it won't be the same, but you can still try and find similar stat lines with different racing records. But seeing what they're doing and taking notes on how they're doing it, like that's not a bad thing to do. That's definitely what small stables should be doing. That's the only way to learn. Like you can learn off smaller stables as well. Like I said, I use MJ as an example. He's playing the game basically one particular way, and he's very profitable doing it. It may not be hundreds of dollars every month, but he's still profiting every month. He's only had 1 negative season, and that was like season 2 or 3. The way he's breeding for handicaps only, essentially, and he's just cleaning up in handicap, like that's a way to win and be profitable. And that you don't have to have 700 horses to do that. You can have a stable of 10 to 15 and a couple breeders that keep it going. But I think definitely observing what other stables do, larger stables, more known like for their breeding and their winning of majors. I think that's a solid technique for smaller stables. Just getting in, asking questions is obviously always good. And if a stable declines to answer you or give you a solid answer, oh well, that's fine. Just go on to the next one.
I think pretty much that's the one very good thing about this community as a whole. Almost everyone's willing to help. You know.
Stens especially. Stens loves helping people, especially DMs. Like he loves response. He's very responsive, very very helpful to the smaller stables. Probably more than RVA, honestly.
Yeah, the best thing to do with Stens is ask him to give you a deal on a horse.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And then flip it. He loves that. He's always trying to help people make a couple extra bucks. So if you can buy a horse for like 4K from him and immediately flip it for 6K, he loves that.
Yeah.
He's trying to, just produce extra revenue for everybody. Good Guy Stens. That's where he got the name. Good Guy Stens.
It is Good Guy Stens, yes. Move on. Yeah, Egg, I'm with you on that. I said it before. I'm not trying to pay a trash removal service to clean out the shit in my barn. So that's where I'm at with that as well. They don't seed the money. I don't know how they seed everything. They take a percentage from the entry fees. They take more from higher grade entry fees. I think they pay a higher percentage, but it's
just due to the nature of the entry fee being higher, right? So if it's 1,000 Derby for an S and it's 400 Derby for an A, like the S horses are putting twice the amount in as the A horse, yet they can still only win the same amount of pot.
But the key is the jackpot is tiny, and you only have a 1 in, it can never grow that large because you have a 1 in 16 chance of hitting it after each race, right? So how long, and given that it starts at a low dollar amount, it's never going to really grow big enough where people are going to be like, oh my God, I got to enter this, right? It's just not going to happen.
Good Guy Stens dropping the 10 gifted. You're such a good guy, Stens. Appreciate you so much. We all do. Even the small stables, they really appreciate your knowledge and your helpfulness.
So going back to the question about what a small stable, I think the answer is find a niche, find something that is out there. And so if it's claimers, just kind of learn the claimers market, follow what Crush is doing, or just watch what he does and learn from it. Ghost used to be, I don't think he's that active right now in the claimers, but Ghost used to just be incredible in claimers as well.
He's still dropping slips on 50Ks here and there and winning pre-rolls.
If it's doing handicaps, it's that. If it's looking at you know, the marketplace to find you know, good, cheap.
There's a lot out there. There's a lot of 2-3 race horses that are just tested at one distance, and it's very obvious in the fleet figures they shouldn't be there. If you like, that's the thing. Like, you're gonna get out what you put in, and this game can be very time consuming. But if you do the work, there is a payoff. There is a payoff. Like,
Right, and so
do it every Monday and Tuesday with handicapping. If you're willing to put the work in, we can be successful. But you know, go either way. It's a coin flip most of the time, but doing the work.
Going back to Sten, and this is not an insult. This is what I'm getting at, is if he has so many horses, he can't grind. He's not going to race them all.
No.
So if it's not a top horse, he's going to want to get rid of it, right? And if you know how to race it and you want to grind that horse, not every horse, but you're probably going to make some money on that horse that he's just not going to want to take the time and energy to race. So there's always value you can make doing this stuff, but you know, it's just finding the thing where you have an edge over other people, where you're willing to put the time in, and you know, I'm not going to be putting the time in that area, or finding a niche and specializing in that particular area, like Crush did with the claimers. I mean, that's not the only thing you can do, but that was the area where I was watching him, and I had a horse claimed by him, and I'm like, fuck, I know I put this horse in. When he claims my horse, I'm like, I put it in too cheap. You know, it's like an automatic market correction. When you see that, or when Ghost was claiming my horse, I'm just like, uh-oh, I put it in too cheap.
Ghost I can compare to a few trainers IRL. They would claim these horses that no one would look at, but they knew what was wrong and they knew how to fix them. And that's fucking Ghost. Like, he'll claim a horse for 40K, he'll qualify for a major, he'll finish second or third. Horse is paid for 17 times over at that point. Like, it's, again, you get out what you put in. I'm sure he just doesn't open a race, look, and say, oh, there's an S for 5,000, I'm gonna claim it. Like, he's looking at other stuff besides the letter grade and the claim price. Like, there's other things in there, like looking at the fleets, looking at where it's being run. Like, if there's an 0 for 4 S horse in for 10K, why is it 0 for 4? Like, opening it up, looking at just going into detail and looking for the edge that no one else is willing to put the time in to find. You can be successful doing that. And he's one that's literally week after week, month after month, he's in the top 3 or top 5 of a major getting a paycheck. So with a horse that he claimed for nothing.
Yep.
There is ways, like, to gain an edge in this game. You just have to put the work in. Yeah, but JJ, you have anything to add to the small stable starting? Just knock on your door and
I mean, the biggest thing is just plan it out before you do it. Like, don't just go fucking throw money.
Yeah, don't go crazy buying. Yeah.
Right. Like, have a plan and like evaluate your plan like constantly, because like we said, that meta is not going to be the same, and it might not be announced what it's going to be.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's always changing. Every season's different. Like, there is
definitely have the conversation.
There's 70 and 90 fleet figure benchmarks every week or every
have
other
the
week.
Conversations before you do it. Spend money. Hop in Discord. Reach out to, ask people who to talk to. Like, I've thrown horses to people like, oh, you're new. Like, yeah, I don't need this horse.
It's funny to hear.
Try it, learn it. Like, your sunk cost is very little, because I'm not going to,
It's funny to hear you say that you bought a horse the other day, and then every other week I go through your stable and ask to buy a horse.
I don't need them, but I mean, it's fun, right? Like, I still like going through and being like, oh, I think this is a good buy, right? Like, there's still fun there. And it's archetypes that I don't play. A lot of Right Dirt Soft is what I've been buying. I probably bought 10 mares at Right Dirt Soft in the last month, just because. I haven't raced them in like 4 days, but I have them.
Yeah, you've been off for about 2 weeks now. What's going on there? You laugh, but what is it?
We're closed at work, man. It's a busy week.
Listen, there's an edge. Sometimes, like that's it. Grinding the 3K and 2K and 4K claimers, that's a thing for small stables. Like, you can do stuff like that. Yep. But you'll find the occasional gem that comes through, like an S that, again, a larger stable might say, all right, I don't want this anymore. I'm just going to put it in here and let someone fight for it, basically. you'll find one of those, you'll be able to claim it, and you'll run it up and maybe win an allowance or maybe win a restricted stake where the other larger stable just didn't, like, they have too many horses to run. That is the issue now. Like, running horses is becoming a big issue. I don't know how big it is for you, Mr. B. Obviously, your clip is your win percentage clip is obviously very impressive. Has it become an issue for you maintaining your stable yet?
Yeah, I'd say it is. It's just, yeah, I had been selling a lot of the horses earlier, and I kind of stopped. And the stable just gets too big, and I don't run the horses enough. Yeah. So I'm definitely not running my stable particularly well right now. I think I'm, for the maidens, I do like the fact that they created the low dollar maidens, so I can just kind of run in them and try to figure out what I got, and it's not really costing me a lot of money. But I got too many horses.
Yeah, I'm not running 350 racing horses currently, from S plus to A.
Yeah, I have a couple of A.
Yeah, a couple. Yeah,
mostly A plus.
Yeah, just
I guess I have some. Yeah, the RTS. I have some A's. But yeah, but obviously the more fun ones are the higher ones. Right?
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. You have it. You're grinding for $10 bills and $20 bills, whereas with the A's, we're grinding for 5s and 1s. Which it's a different grind, but the grind is the same, essentially.
It's a weird thing when you have like a killer horse like I did, and then you retire it, and then you kind of have a couple of seasons where you've got good horses, but they're not the same, and then you get excited when you get a good one again. So I think I finally have like a good 2-year-old. I don't know, he's not like at the level as the other ones, but he's a pretty good one, But it's basically because I have like 1 or 2 top mares. They're all from She's the One, right? And then She's the Boss, and it's good when you got a good horse. Yeah, I'm not going to drop B plus foals.
You wouldn't make a goldenrod with that? Why not?
Right. They're gonna let you breed that thing 23 times, dude.
Hey, you might as well try it at least once.
23 times.
All right, Stens wrote a paragraph. Let's get through that real quick. My race entry time is cut in half if I get rid of horses. It's a win for me, and it's a win for them too. I agree. Like I said, when I see you list horses for small amounts, it's fine because a smaller stable is likely to grab it, and it's not a dog shit.
Yeah, somebody like Mr. B is not going to rush and grab your horse for $8 just because it's a good deal.
No, I wasn't making fun of Stens when I said that. I mean, it was a serious comment. I usually make fun of Stens, but it does make sense. If you're looking to buy stuff, and he's putting it in a claimer, it's not because it's total dog shit. It's because he doesn't have the time and energy to run it.
The second part of Stens' paragraph, he agrees with the JJ for the first time ever. The best stable managers, top of mind. 1 poker player, 2 crush, 3 trawlers, 4 renowned, but the guys are really cunts. Crypto Hog at number 5. Also, just talk to people, especially Stens. He loves that shit, and networking is great, especially when you go through him. Stens, good guy. Stens loves small talking. I tell you that, loves it. Let's see, got through that.
Did he diss SoCal? He didn't even list SoCal as one of the top stables there.
Well, wouldn't it? Oh, that's true. Yeah, no SoCal. Wow, no YSM either. They're racers now, aren't they?
Yeah.
No
Commish. Commish is a racer now. I mean,
GVG doesn't even count. GVG is on like a different level. So
yeah, that's lucky. That's lucky money right there. There's no skill in that. Bone Frostle. I'm new stable, and I found 6 foals that have good blood. Yeah, we're so far in now that coming in and starting a stable now, you can start a stable with $100. Think about it. Like, you can start a stable with $100, wait for 2-year-olds, and then go off on your little adventure. Like, you don't have to buy a racing horse now. The one thing that the game is accustomed with is you do get a free horse. It's not a money earning horse, but you use it to qualify for what's their new player thing, the rookie rally they do for new players. Definitely sign up for that if you're new to the game. But yeah, like if you were in a game before where bloodlines were supposed to be a thing and you got rubbed there, bloodlines truly do matter here. So If that was something, if that's a puzzle that you enjoy putting together and piecing, you're gonna have fun doing it here. Like we looked at earlier, S minuses and S's jumping up to S pluses. Like there has to be something being pulled from the ancestry to allow that to happen. Obviously, you could just get a very good roll, but now, like before getting a good roll, when it was Gen 0, we could see, but the S minus with 2 green stats leveling up to an S plus, I don't think that's a good roll. I think that's getting pulled from somewhere else. Personally, that's me though. I don't know about y'all. Another new stable. What do you look out for if purchasing a foal with increased chances of not getting something glue? For me personally, I look at the progeny of the mare, and I look to see that they're producing horses that can win more than 3 or 4 races in 60 starts. And I look for consistency as well in that. Like I want to see multiple. Like if a mare has 6 foals, 3 are racing, one is a 4-year-old with 10 wins, one's a 3-year-old with 5 wins, and a 2-year-old has a handful of wins. That's 3 racing horses that all won. So to me, the foals that are behind it should have a solid chance of being something. It's not guaranteed all the time, but that's more of a certainty I look for. I want to see that the mare is producing, and obviously look at the stallions too, but more so concerned about the mare. Y'all have an opinion on that?
I think it's both. I think you got to be careful with some of the kind of, puppy mills that are there, where you're breeding and the preferences might be okay, the grade might be okay, but if you look at the mare wasn't that good. And if you look at the sire, it's not really, the sire was horrible, it's produced no good offspring. Those are the ones, they might look good. Oh, look at this one. It's, an 8 plus, foal or an S minus foal or an S foal with 7 preferences. And then you look at the mare and the mare sucked. And you look at the sire and the sire has never produced anything. And it's like, yeah, it looks good superficially, but it's basically glue. So you want to see somewhere, either some incredible stat jumping out and take a chance with that, but really you want to look and say, okay, well this pairing, this mare's produced, look at the horses this one's produced, or this sire's produced, and even better when you have the same mare and sire combo.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what you're looking for, rather than a similar horse that's cheaper, but you're buying bargain basement stud and a bargain basement mare, and that's going to be glue no matter what price you pay for it. So I'd be a little careful about that.
Be wary of snake oil salesmen. Like Sten said, the loudest people aren't always the. No, not that. I didn't want to highlight that one. Hold on, where am I at?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would just say, like, there was a time and place where people were trying to fill gaps, and we were trying to bring this into this and that into that, and those days are gone. Like, those horses aren't worth shit. Like, I have a stable full of them for a bunch of experiences. Like, they're just not worth much. So, you really, really just want to look, like you said, like, even if the horse didn't have a lot of races because it sat in Mr. B's barn for a ton of time, and then you put on whatever, or
so we yell at him to race it,
or my barn. I should just call myself out. Like, you can kind of look at their stats and basically be like, okay, is there horses that looked like this that did win? Like, you kind of have to maybe go a little extra for these stuff that's going to be the cheapest. Probably didn't come from stuff that raced, right? So, in a perfect world, there's going to be four progeny that all lit it up, and you hit the jackpot. But I would kind of try to go find similar horses and be like, did a horse like this ever win? And if it didn't, then kind of pass or whatever.
Yeah, pass is a good way to put it.
Also, have to understand what won and when it won, right? So, like, horses that won in season 9, there was B's in every graded stakes, right? Every single G1 had any kind of horse in it. If it wasn't, well, I guess the selection committee probably kicked those out. But,
well, no, because it wasn't that big back then. You still had the A's and the grade 1s and the A pluses and all that.
You got people farming race, so you kind of, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, that's where like there's a lot of time that you need to spend at times. This is a very extreme niche of like me saying go do this kind of stuff, but you have to kind of understand the history of the game when you're looking at some horses. I just want to throw that disclaimer out there. If you're looking at what's now a 15-year-old because it was the first Gen 1 crop and it won a fucking ton of races, just go click on a few of them. Make sure that they were real races.
Yeah.
They weren't 3B pluses.
A lot of farming races that have been going on during the Gen 0 days and the Gen 1 days. So stats are definitely inflated on some.
Yeah, what's the LTS colt that you have that won like 50 races, Mr. B? Because he's the only ass colt that was on the track till 8. Which one is that?
Oh, Hello Newman.
Yeah, he's got like 40 wins, but he won because he was the only ass left on the track. Still probably a good horse.
He's flying. He was good, but yes, I would agree that he
wasn't 40 wins good.
No.
Yeah. But if you look at the distribution of field size, it's very, very gathered down here in the 4-5 area. It's still spread out 6, 7, 8, but it caps at 8. But that's also back in the before 4 times when things were a lot different and the game was played a lot different than it is today.
Correct.
Shit, my bad. I had it on here, but yeah. Hello Newman he got his money's worth. Let's just put it that way. Hello Newman got his money's worth on the racetrack.
For sure.
I mean, he
was smart.
He was a very good horse. It's just that, LTS 9924
had a bunch of
PFP, there was so many of them. So even though he was, I don't know, maybe he was like the 250th ranked fine filly, in terms of rarity and the number 1 stud, there still might have been, 8 9924 studs that actually came from better fine fillies,
and all preferred 10 furlongs. Right? There was no real variance.
His record was tough initially because he's running against he
wasn't even the best one in your barn.
Yeah, I think Mr. B's dog can manage GVG stable. Ray Charles could probably do it as well.
Well, he's just been very lucky. He's really the luckiest person I've ever known. It's unbelievable.
Fullman Racing. I'm seeing 4 and 5-year-olds that haven't even been running. This is true, but this is also a product of. You can probably find some in both of the stables that are on stream right now. But that was the product of just breed, and then they sat there, or potentially they were giveaway horses, and people just decided they wanted to sell them instead. But
I don't think I have any 5-year-olds that have never run. But,
I don't think I've.
Yeah,
I don't think that I've listed anything in 4 months. So everything that I don't have time for is just sad. So unless somebody's come to me, people have come to me and said, "Will you sell this?" And I normally say yes. There's not much that I would say no to. In terms of if it's sitting, if it's something I'm not racing and you want to come, race it, by all means, hit me up and. I'm not gonna.
You have a ton of horses.
Just come with what you think it's worth, and if it's anywhere close to reasonable, I'm pretty flexible.
Keep in mind, he did not shilling $10 for most of them. Chat. Keep that in mind, all right?
Yeah.
Don't let this guy, finagle you, all right? Don't finesse you. Stand. Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah,
you need to use examples for people on stream. I'm not talking shit. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I didn't think there was any shit talking that happened at all tonight. Honestly, I think tonight was pretty solid. Chat, do you have any other questions, or you guys want to go around? There's other shit, right? I guess did we touch on the? No, I guess the referral, or not the referral, the no longer the staking of profile pictures not being a thing anymore. I mean, I don't personally give a shit because I don't have any profile pictures. Y'all do, so I don't know if it means anything to you if you have an opinion on it, but obviously feel free to share it.
I'm gonna say tax loss harvest. That's about it.
I think it's a big nothing. I don't have a problem with that. Assuming the only concern I have is them implementing it, but otherwise it's really not a big deal.
So if that's the case, I guess I'll play devil's advocate, or I'll be the good guy, bad guy. So it was mentioned in his words, but essentially, I don't know if it was a direct move to punish those who aren't involved in the game, but the people that just staked for crown, I guess, are the ones that will will suffer the most because they're not racing, they're not being part of the ecosystem. They also might not get pinged in Discord to let them know that staking is no longer a thing. They might not know that they have to actively each month show up and cash in a voucher. So to me, that part was like, all right, I don't particularly like that too much, but again, it could be different for everyone. I also see things that other people don't really see, and I'll obviously poke at them and prod at them to try and get an answer. But what are your thoughts on basically be here or be square?
Well, like I said, I think the key, what I said is it depends on how they implement it. So exactly what you said, if you're just looking to get people don't know and you don't make a big point of announcing and going on, Twitter, having a stream and letting everyone know, like, hey, you need to do this, and you do this every month. Yeah, that's a problem because, I'd be pretty pissed if I stake my stuff, stake it and forget about it. And then all of a sudden, but even now, if you stake it and you're going to stake it and you're not going to bother putting it on the racetrack, you're not going to claim it. I think most people are probably claiming it now anyway, right? Like if you stake it and it just builds up and you don't put it on the racetrack, then you're not going to earn anything on it. It's just kind of building up. So you might have some people like that, but the key is just letting everyone know.
Yeah. Again, heads up, essentially. But I guess with that,
they have a lot, right? They've done breeding cut. Like if you don't breed, which was normal, right? We needed to know what gen population we were working with, so like you had to do that. Then you had to stake. Then, like Sten just pointed out, we had to unstake and switch off Cardinal. So if you weren't here, like you did have to kind of follow. And I mean, really, if you pay, a lot of these guys, I think that they're trying to punish is not the right word, but whatever.
Yeah, that's the thing I don't like.
The guys that minted 100 of them for 2.2 SOL, which was $33. They then got airdropped a free fucking mare.
Yeah. And
then they made it a ticket and they sold the ticket. They didn't participate in beta to help the team, get any feedback. They then staked it. They got all this fucking. They paid $30 for fucking tens of thousands of dollars for that. I don't care. I don't feel bad for anybody, right? Like,
sure.
Fuck it. Like, it's their game. It's their whatever. They've over delivered all the way in terms of value for your thing. Everyone wants us to be like this whole like trustless Web3, my asset, I do what I want, you can't change. Well, like it's not what it is. It's not anymore. Like I'm cool with it. Never.
I'm still not eligible. Fuck.
That was I mean I think a certain number of horses should that's a separate issue. You could take that up with Ian.
Yeah, but like, what's 100 horses? Like now, it's like just 100 horses that you do nothing with. Like that doesn't solve doesn't really add anything either. So it's almost the same argument now. Like having 100 horses that just sit idle, you're not doing anything. You're basically passive as well. I guess what I'm saying. You could get to that point. I don't know.
Yeah, that was my only thing. I didn't realize that what Sten said. This is the second time. I didn't realize that there was a first time before, but I just didn't. I didn't think it was a. The way I read it is it was like an intentional punishment, and I don't like putting that in words and announcing it. But
I don't think punishment's the right word. I think they might be.
They definitely know who's. They can definitely take a look and say,
"Oh yeah, 100%."
All the PSPs that people are coming in once every 4 months and claiming their crown, and then they can go look at the wallet. They can look at the wallet that claimed the crown. They can go see that they instantly market dumped it. Like it's all there.
Sure.
So they probably had something else
knew was going to be taken. Like people were going to buy mint, and this was something that was going to happen. But taking a stance on it in season 17 seems like. All right, we're going to stop this so we can save
I think my biggest issue with it, and it's not an issue per se, but it's like, God damn, how much time did they waste rebuilding the staking on site? Like, I wish they would just came up with this fucking solution back in the Cardinal days and they lost a lot of dev time during that to rebuild that. And they worked, and they did a good job doing it, and like, whatever. It's like, man, I wish they would have came up with this solution where it was like, oh, everyone's going to, unstake on Cardinal, and on this day we're gonna airdrop you these tickets that are now claimable once a month in game. Like that would have been way better, but
I'm going to highlight this, but I'm going to direct you to Discord because it was already talked about, Grandpa. Plan to fix claimers, grade restricted claimers, allowance claimers. There was a giant thread that was started today. I did post it earlier in Discord. I'll post it again. Go in there, take a read, give your opinion on that. I'm done. I'm Stens in this part. I've literally said enough. I've directly talked to them about it. Like, this is something that should have been fixed and planned seasons ago, but here we are with flatline claimers now.
Is that Ghost proposal or something else?
The Ghost proposal, yeah.
Okay.
I know you see things a little differently, RVA. Mr.B, I don't know how you sit with the claimers.
As currently constructed, I don't think they work.
Yeah.
No,
I think they have to do some kind of conditions on them.
Yes.
I think it's pretty easy. I think it's
Yes.
crazy that we have a benchmark that we're adding weights to for in a system that they say is grouping like horses, but then they'll let a claimer for 2K have an S horse and a B horse in it and be like, well, the market decides it's 2K. It's like, well, no, it's because somebody made that horse for $10 and the B horse is never going to win. Like, it just kills the fun of it all.
Make claimers great again.
I don't see why they can't throw not weight. God, I think there shouldn't be weight on any races.
There shouldn't be weight.
They don't do it right. It's not good. But I think you can do other things to help bucket stuff of similar like horses, right? Not to where it's like a graded stakes but a claimer. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to say
But you don't want grade restricted claimers, is what you're.
What's the
I don't
point
think
of
it
that?
really. All that is just.
No. I'm just asking.
I think that all that would be is just a different entry fee restricted stakes where.
Sure.
That, again, everyone's just going to rush to the bottom. So
Again,
I don't know what the fix is. I don't get involved in that because I don't have time to think about how to make 3K claimers. People jump in them. I don't agree with everything Ghost posted, but I do think that he makes a lot of good points in there, right?
I will say this.
You now have stuff. They've tried so hard to provide something for everyone that there's now way too many options. And nothing's filling because you're like, if I don't have the fucking nut horse for this exact combo of whatever's going on, distance, weather, and then weight and fleet figure and all this shit, that you just don't enter, or you just like, it's too hard. So people default to the grade restricted because it's easiest, but very quickly you find out I don't have the best S horse. I don't have the best A+ horse. And then it's like, now I'm just done. I think handicap should be removed completely, and that's the only stance I'll take on anything. They've never made sense. They reward the lowest grade horse. The weight that they carry is completely made up. Like, it doesn't do what a handicap race is supposed to do.
I will agree with that as well, which is something that
handicap horses, we don't need to mathematically make it to where every horse has a 12% chance to win.
No.
But they're not even doing.
But handicap races in real life are constructed where the best horse carries the most weight, not the highest grade horse. Like, that's the one thing that I talked about with. I had Keith on way back, I guess in season 1 or 2, whenever he decided to join formerly Crimson Racing, now All That Jazz. And I'm trying to explain to him handicaps in the game, and it's like I'm fumbling because it's not the same thing as an IRL handicap. It's completely fucking different. It's a clusterfuck. It's not how it should be done, but now we have multiple versions of a handicap via the A to S allowances, the B- to A- allowances.
Yeah,
like those are just micro handicaps.
And now they threw in the S- to the S+ as well again. So what's worse is they almost always favor the lowest grade in that tier. So
it's supposed to favor the horse with the least amount of wins. That's what I mean. In IRL, the best horse carries the most weight. The worst horse that hasn't won a race in the last 6 months will literally carry the bare minimum. So
so what do you do now? We're back to where we were. What do you do if you have a mediocre S horse? You wonder why they're running in 2K claimers or whatever. Where the fuck are you gonna run it?
2K claimer.
I actually have been a proponent for benchmarks. I think it's been a mess of how they've done it. I think that there's merit to it. I just think fleet figures are broken. I think it's crazy that they won't admit that maidens run higher, that claimers you run a higher. I'll run a fucking 80 in a maiden, and then you go and run it against the other best S horses that are truly good horses that can run 80 in a graded stakes. And your horse is running like a 68. Like, it's broke, and then you can't drop off your 78 that you ran in a maiden. Your horse is really supposed to run 68s, but in a maiden it runs this. And then, God forbid, if I find a non-winner of 2, but then I'm at the top end of the range, so I'm carrying 2 pounds. The horse that can run the same range, because we have things like heart and temper, and weather and distance and all these things that affect your fleet figure. And it's like, oh, we're 2 fleet figures apart. All of a sudden you say that's worth £1. It's like bullshit. We both have the same chance to run a 75 as we do a 68 because these horses aren't good. Like, it's just crazy of how they've just like left the fleet figure calc stale. Like, it's stale. The whole yielding thing is, and I'm just now asking for a nerf, I guess, but it's bullshit that it hasn't been fixed or removed from the calculation. They've literally stated that yielding fleet figures are broken. Well, fucking take it out of the calc.
Point it out every week. I point it out every week. Whenever
I've been like that for what? Like a year at this point. I mean,
some horses need to actually target yielding because they have 0. Like, that's a skill thing where you need to target yielding because you have a 0 preference condition horse. You get a 6 preference horse as 3-3-0, and that horse can fucking kill anything.
Yeah. I have
but
one.
Now you're gonna get these fleet figures that are exuberantly high. That's like just blatantly out of the water, and it's like, well, now you can't run benchmarks with that horse. Yeah, whatever. You know, I'm not good at words.
But, be careful. The Toot is the human almanac. You're lucky he didn't pop up and say something.
So it's just like I actually think benchmarks are the right way to approach it. They just haven't figured out a way to group make horses feel like you have a chance. You have to have the fleet figure that's at the top of the range. You need to carry no weight. You need to be a horse that's on the rise instead of the decline because you don't drop your fleet figure fast enough. So your 4-year-old horse can't beat 3-year-olds because the 3-year-old's still progressing through its aging while you're on your down curve. So your average is a 74, but you don't have the ability to race at 80 anymore, where the 3-year-old does. So it's like they just give you so many reasons to think that you have no shot to win a race that you just don't enter, whether that's in a benchmark or a grade restricted right now. So what does that leave? It leaves the easiest way to play this game is to have the best fucking horse in the game. Yeah, that's it. It leaves you to say, I need the absolute nut horse. It doesn't matter if it's a 90 fleet figure, 3-roll, or 70. Like, you just have to have the best horse for this random thing, and it's really hard to do, and it takes a lot of time, and it's really discouraging for new users. So that's my final rant.
Add to the claimers, Mr.B?
Say that again.
Do you have anything you want to add to the claimers discussion? I think we pretty much nailed it. Like, conditions are a huge thing, and that's one thing that should have been implemented a long time ago, and conditions without weight.
I think the problem with the claimers is, once again, it ties in with the whole schedule. Okay, so it's because you have all these other things that. So you know what? A B+ horse probably shouldn't be running in a claimer with an S horse, but not because you should restrict the horses that can enter the race, because a B+ horse shouldn't be running in that race if an S horse is. But there's so many options right now, and there's so much stuff there, and the claimer prices have gotten so low that it's kind of like, I don't have the time to run a horse in a 2K claimer. It's not, what's the entry fee for that? With
the amount of horses you have, it's really not worth your time.
Well, I'd just soon let the horse sit there than take the time to run it in a 2K claimer. And the races are canceling so much that the higher claimers just don't fill. So after entering a bunch and then just having everyone cancel, I'm just like, all right, I'm not entering it right now.
Reason.
So you have to find the grade restricted horse. You have to be the best S-, the best. But it's a problem especially when you create these multi-grade allowance races where, okay, so you can't run an S+ or an S against an S minus in those races. You can't run an S against an A in the A to S races. I mean, you can, but you're really giving up tremendous expected value in it, because all things being equal, the A or A plus horse is going to win that race, not the S or the S minus. And with the S minus to the S plus, like, you run a killer S minus against a mediocre S plus, I'm not even sure the S plus is better than the S minus, and it's giving 4 pounds. I mean, what the fuck? Like, why would you run in that race? So
if you're not an S minus, I mean, listen. If you're an S, it's hard to run in those races because, again, I'm anti-carrying weight. I don't want to.
I'll say the worst horse to own in the game is a mediocre S plus. It is the worst horse I have.
They used to be great.
I have probably lost $1,000 racing S pluses this season.
So, you know,
I'm not even kidding. Like, that's a real number.
I looked, and when you said it, I looked, and I said, "Yep, he's not lying." So,
I guess this isn't even claimers. It was bad enough when they went back to grade restricted, but I can understand that in small doses. I don't have a real problem with grade restricted racing. You got the best S minus, you got the best S plus.
No, it's fun. I like having them because it's a way to make money and have competitive, like, a rivalry going. Like, I know that, you know, this horse is very equal to me and you're going to face a lot. Like, I like having them. They just can't be the only option. And at 2-year-olds, it seems like they're the only options, for especially at S. Like, it's like bad. You win your maiden, your first race, and then it's like, I'm gonna go burn $35 every day. Like,
the best thing, and we talked about it before, the best thing you could ask for is a horse that constantly runs second and third in maidens. That's the best thing you have.
Yeah, let's do that for 3 weeks, then win your maiden.
That's like that in real life too sometimes.
But this is exactly why conditions are important, because you don't lose the maiden condition and you can constantly grind that race and profit. Now, you have a non-winners of 2 lifetime condition. Finishing second and third in those races is better than winning, because you hold that condition and it allows you to keep grinding non-winners of 2.
And they've started to put those in, but they have these stupid fucking weights with them where it's like,
that's where
if my horse only has 1 win, then let it race with other horses that only have 1 win. Like, why do I need to carry weight? You've already grouped them.
I'm on the fence of the weighted allowances are dog shit. I've been on that fence for a long time. Bad. Conditions should not hold weight. That is
Can we get this blog from Richie that just has these charts that basically says, people want data, here's your data. And it's like, no, like, that data is telling me don't fucking run anything in a benchmark unless it's carrying no weight and it's at the peak of its career and it's, you know, at the top of the fleet. Like, that's what those charts told us. They didn't tell us anything else. They didn't say that, like, A pluses are beating S's constantly in 68. They're not.
They're not. Because
the A plus that has a 68 is maxed out, where, like, the S that's at 68 can run a 74.
Yeah. But to finish up on the claiming thing and how to make them great conditions, never win 2, never win 3, never win 4. I'm sure they could do this. Like, hasn't won a race in the last 7 days, hasn't won 2 races in the last 7 days. Like, those are conditions that we need to have. Oh, the lifetime for sure. The 2 in a week or 2 in 7 days, like, that is a layer of condition for when you win the 2, 3, 4 lifetime conditions. Like, now you have somewhere else to go instead of going to an open claimer, which is all we're running anymore, which is why you're seeing S's and 2Ks and 3Ks. Like,
why don't we have claimers that just have non-winner 1 claimers, non-winner 2 claimers?
You have the same issue with allowances too, don't you? I mean, like,
the allowances can also be tiered to lifetime conditions as well. Instead of,
I mean, in real life, that's pretty much.
I will say the one thing that I've had a hot take on that a lot of people don't agree with is I don't think that they ever can nor should make earnings-based allowances, because
I don't like them.
I think that's just such a complex, like, how they're going to set it up. I just don't think that it would work. It takes 1 horse to ruin it all for everybody. If I have 500 S horses, I can just run the horse that has 0, came in second once and has 800 Derby earnings, and I can just dump that in and then I can park it because I already was parking it, right? Like, I just think that there's enough people that will, eke out $4 and then just be done, right? Like, and it only takes 1 of those to ruin every other, the race for everything else. And you can say, like, well, fine, that one graduates out, and then you run the next one. But I'm saying that there's just going to be an infinite supply of horses based on earnings that always can enter. So I've been on record saying I don't think it's a good idea. We actually saw it in beta where it was the opposite, where everything was like earnings based, and the good horses had to sit for like 5 days because nothing else was there.
That was also because I think it could work, but I think the degree of difficulty and my confidence in their ability to implement it is pretty low. So,
and that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it could work. I just don't think. I think it would be the hardest of hard things for them to do. So it's just not worth it. Like, you're constantly having to tweak it and updating it, and we've already seen that they can't get ahead. So that's something that would constantly need to be reflected.
Yeah.
Because they can't project out a whole month's worth of, well, these horses are going to constantly win and flow through, and what do we need? Like, they just don't have that.
It has more to do, I think, with having like the purses of the various races constructed well. So I think the problem in beta is you had like random races with huge purses, and horses would win that race, and then they wouldn't meet the earnings criteria, be above the earnings criteria because there's an outlier race or two, and they weren't necessarily good, and they just blew past the earnings. So if you had all the races constructed so that you didn't have outlier earnings for various, it could work, but I don't know that I feel that they're likely to put that together properly. So non-winners is probably easier.
Yeah, non-winners. But again, it's something that we're in season 17 now, so I'm not holding my breath for it.
I mean, they made some good changes lately. Like I said, putting those in, I just think it's crazy to add weight to those races. It's like the horse that has one win that's 2 fleet figures higher, like, isn't a better horse, should not be carrying more weight. Sorry, you popped that up and I just lose my train of thought. There's just not a difference. Like, there's not a huge difference in those horses. Like, I think they try, like I said, they tried so much now that there's like too much. There's too much stuff going on that they need to just like back off and like kind of let if the fleet figures were fixed. Again, I don't think that they're correct at the second, but like a horse at 72 and a horse at 74 that both have one win, that's the same fucking horse. Like, that horse, both those horses, if you look at like 7 races, they're gonna be 68 sometimes, 74 sometimes, 57. Like, they just run all over. Like, they're not constant. Nobody's racing 70, 70, 70, 70, 70. Like, no horse is like that. So like, why are you adding weight for a very small difference in a fleet figure?
I hate the multi-grade allowances more than anything. So those to me, I just
and the fact that they came back after so long made no sense.
Like, why would you bring them back? Who was asking for that other than people that have like, you know,
they
B-
were
horses?
Fine for Gen Zeros and all this stuff where like everything matched the ticket, right? Like, your global grade was pretty reflective of your abilities. Now we have horses that have all over the place stats. Like, you have A pluses with S plus stats. Like, it's dumb.
Don't like it.
And it all comes down to the weight again. So you're giving too much weight. 2 pounds on average is still a little on the high side for each subgrade. So when you have these multi-grade things, once again, the preferences are still going to be a little higher on the lower ones, right? So between the higher preferences and the 2 pounds, there's pretty much an edge for the lower graded horse in any one of these multi-grade races. And it's so fucking obvious. I don't know why they keep on fucking bringing it. Why are they bringing this back? It just boggles my mind that they would bring these back.
I think it was just to have a cheaper entry fee is literally what I think it is. I think it's to give cheaper entry fees, and I think there's just better ways to achieve that. Just like forever where benchmarks were like more or equal to like a G1 entry. It was like,
okay, the low entry fee part makes sense. I don't know
how much lower are we gonna go here, for Christ's sakes?
pennies.
I don't have a problem like making a lower entry, but like, because those are for horses that are like a different ability within a grade that are going to race those. So I think that's fine. I just I just hate weight. I mean, it just comes down to I don't race in any races that have weight. Like I just don't do it.
No, and you should. That is the alpha. Has always been, don't carry unnecessary weight if you don't have to. Hell, even in real life, like I was always, again, in a normal claiming race, everyone might carry 118. I was always looking to put an apprentice on my horse that was getting a 10-pound discount or a 6-pound discount because I wanted to be the lighter horse because it means more. Carrying more weight is a disadvantage. But the way they have it done here, it just doesn't work. I don't think it works. Like, you turn the S- to S pluses into S- restricted stakes. So there's two versions of S- restricted stakes. The A's get a boot. Well, the A's don't even do good in handicaps anymore because all the B's, B- go in there. So the A's have to carry weight where before they weren't. So now they have the A to S allowance where they're getting screwed there again, but they can still win those races if they're really good. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm sure that there's horses in these higher grade, like there's an S that's winning an A to S, maybe there's a few, like, and they think like, oh yeah, I nailed it. Like, there's just so many things that have to go right that to me, it's like, I'm not entering it. Like, you can show me data that says like it's possible to win this with the highest grade. Like, yeah, I get that, but like, is there a better chance of it doing that or me racing elsewhere? Like, I'm just gonna pick the race where I don't have to carry weight. Like,
yeah, but that goes to my point is like, what are we breeding for? I mean, you're actually encouraging people to breed lower quality, lower grade horses right now.
That's what I've been doing for the last 2 months. If you have a mediocre S, where are you running it? There's no way to run it.
You put it on the marketplace for 700 Derby or in a 2K claim. And it doesn't get claimed because people they know that you've already decided that this horse can't run.
Well, because there's no way to race it.
Right. I dropped a claim on an S horse today. All right, for 5K. I'll have you know that.
Yeah, well, you can race it in a claimer, and that's
you can race it in
people like, well, my B plus horse or my A plus horse can't run in the claimer. And it's like, because there's no way to run the S horse. Where are you going to run it? No. You've set up these allowances where they can't win. If it's not a top one, it's not going to win in the grade restricted S races. Okay, it's not going to win the open races. So you have no way to race that horse other than claimers. That's it. There's no way to race it where it can win. So what do you think's going to happen? And then everyone complains, oh, look, the S horses are running in the claimers. It's like, well, where the fuck else are they going to run?
Yeah.
And at this point, like, an S isn't a rare horse to have. There's got to be more S horses than there are A- horses at this point.
Right. So
yeah, the A- horse has.
Well, yeah, because everyone was taking their A pluses up for the first 10 seasons. Like, everyone was just jumping. So
right, that's what I'm saying. So like S's are, like there's a lot of shit S's, and if the answer is just don't make shit horses so you don't race them, like whatever, like fine, but like say that or.
But if an S horse is better than an A plus horse, okay, then if they're running in a claimer,
or at least let them run to decide that without weight. Right, if your A plus is still just better because I bred a shit S that has low preference and your A plus is a killer, and you slow bred it and you aligned distances and did this and that, then like let us run them together in a race type without a just arbitrary 2 pounds per grade or whatever it is.
Yeah, but they just kind of, when they set these things up, they kind of pick new sets of winners, right?
And it's on the
right
fly,
now, the S- horses have the S- restricted, and they have the S- to the S plus. Okay, that's pretty good.
And they have benchmarks, and they have
so they're in okay shape. The A plus, not so good. You know, they can kind of win the A to the S races, but where else are they running? Okay, other than in the A plus restricted, the A horses can run in the A restricted, and they're the favorites now in the A to the S allowance races. Okay, so like all they're doing is just randomly picking favored subgrades when they make these changes left and right, and it's like, okay, well, let's favor this. So now you have an A- horse. Where are they going to run? Most of the races, there's a handful of A- restricted races, not a lot, and then there's the B- to the A- ones. Well, the A- up against it in those races. Now you're favoring the B- in those races. So it's just like, let's just pick random multi-grade allowances and pick whichever happens to be the lowest grade that can make those races. That's where they're giving the edge to. For what purpose?
Based on gap data, 18,000 S horses and 4,800 A minuses.
Right.
So I think we are in agreement that I don't have a problem with having A- grade restricted races and giving them a place. Oh, there you go, a 55 free roll. Is that your idea or is that David's?
I might listen. That's a good one. I have one that's eligible for that, so let's run that.
I got to figure out a way to tank my horses so they can get the fleets down. That we should do that. We should have a race like a 35 and a 25, and we can figure out who can get the lowest fleets and run in a race like that. That race.
That Seahorse got like a 0 fleet figure, didn't it? Just ran a race and just said, no, you don't get a number.
Isn't there a C? I think someone was running a C- this season.
That might have been the one I saw. I saw one where it was like it legit ran a race and just still gave it a 0.
Yeah, I don't know how to look that up, unfortunately. But that's good. No, we don't need any more hardcore races. Sorry, Viper. We literally don't need hardcore races at all. I'm gonna be the Grinch about it all the time now. I tried to give him a chance.
One last, it's not even a rant, but when it comes to breeding week, like, are they going to tell us when it is, or are we going to find out again, like on the Friday or Saturday before, the end of the season?
Well, that's what I was going to say. It seems like with that announcement, they've taken some things into consideration with moving it, which is something you've been a very big
proponent of. Yes.
That's the one thanks. That's the one I'm looking for. You've been a big supporter of having that happen, but like you said, when are we going to find out? Is it going to be 3 days before? Is it going to be 24 hours before? Are we actually going to find out a month before? Which I think it should be multiple weeks before, honestly. But
yeah, I mean, they kind of said we're probably going to do this, but meanwhile, they haven't said they're going to do it. So it's like, well, which week is it going to be? It would be nice to know that, but.
Well, there's a lot going on right now, all right? I think. Doesn't seem like there is. I mean, we got an announcement on Friday, but that was the crown staking stuff, right? Like that was the newsy Friday announcement. Yeah, that was kind of a letdown.
I think they probably are still mulling the changes on breeding to announce it all at once, right? It's going to be pushed to this week. Minimums are going to go up or down or whatever it is. I think they're probably going to make all of that announcement at once instead of.
I'm off of the announcement of the announcement of the announcement. Like, just give me a real announcement instead of these fucking. We'll sprinkle in hints that there's going to be something. I thought on the Spaces Monday there was going to be something, but there wasn't about anything. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess the moral of the stream is if you're going to do things, give us more than a 36-hour heads up, more than a 3-day heads up.
Remember the flash breeding fix where they announced it less than 12 hours before the start of the season?
That was great.
And it was like, no one really had an objection to what they were doing. It would have been like, hey, we're going to do this. They could have announced it weeks earlier. We found the problem with the cooldown, and I had to fix to them in 12 hours. But of course, they couldn't implement it until the next season or maybe the last day when it looked like Ted wasn't going to breed. All they had to do was say, here's what we're doing. You guys have any thoughts on how we can do this better? But this is what we're going to do, instead of at 11:15 at night on Sunday night or Monday night, before the breeding. It was here are the changes we're making. And it's just I'm like, come on.
Yeah, that kind of shit. Again, it doesn't really affect me because I have 6 mares to breed, but when you're breeding 50 plus mares, at this point, season 17, let's just assume that people have thousands of horses in their stable, especially ones that have been here since beta 0. Let's just be a little bit more alert on the announcements, I think. I think that's one thing. Like they do communicate, but in a timely manner with enough heads up, I think would be a little bit better.
Yeah.
But who the fuck am I to say anything?
Well, so once again, I do think not having it that first week is super key, just because you're retiring all these mares and you want to run breeding reports. There's just so much stuff going on that first day that, look, how can they pursue right turf? For Sten, you're the one who's going to be selling them, like, left and right? How many are you just breeding at this point? So pushing it back would be a huge. It would let us kind of prepare for it a little better. Some of us aren't like Sowers, who figure out his breeds for like the next 4 seasons already, and we're just kind of scrambling to catch up and retire all our fillies and figure out what we're going to do. And it would just be a big bonus if it was pushed back. And I think it's just a win-win.
Fucking lunatic. Yeah, he's just shy of 1,000 horses. But how many mares is he breeding a month? How many mares do you breed a month now, Mr.B? I can go back and look. But
me? Or, I don't even know how many I have at this point. But Sowers he has it all figured out. I mean, this is where being like, a young gun, and he's used to working with data. I mean, he's just like really good with that. And I'm fucking like writing stuff on a fucking piece of paper.
Right click open, 700 tabs. That's how you do it.
No.
Yeah, he's got a ton.
Yeah, I don't even have any notes, so you're beating me at least with paper.
He has been buying up left turf the last 2 months, so I guess.
No, as far as like what Sten said, like, look, when Mr. B and I come on in this, it's not to like talk shit and anything. It's just we're just voicing opinions. But I think we both said at the start, like, their time just needs to do what they see is best for the game, and we all need to adapt, right? Like, we're not sitting here demanding anything. We're not sitting here saying we could do it better. Like, it's our opinions. A lot of times shit's biased. Like, whatever. I think there's a lot of smart things being said across the entire community, but like, I think it all comes back to like, third time needs to decide where they want things to go, and then lay it out there and let us chase it. The constant with no notice changes to where you start rewarding things that people didn't like, just literally lucked into, like that they didn't do anything special to hit that meta or whatever. Like, that's where we get frustrated, because there is a real wait time, investment, whatever you want to call it, time and money, for a plan to go into place. And then when things just, out of nowhere, that's where the frustrations come from. So I think that's why we get a little bit, worked up when we start going on some of this stuff, because it's like, yeah, I don't see my wife during breeding week. I go to work for 8 to 9 hours a day, and then I breed for 7 straight days, 4 hours a day. Like, I could do it faster for sure, but like, I want to take the time and put the effort in to try to like progress. So when that then just gets thrown out the window because it's like, well, fuck you, like, you should have been trying to get a 70 figure horse, like, it sucks. Like, there's no other way to say it. So like, I really like urge the team to try to do what they can to get get ahead of things and give us targets, like at least with the free rolls, right? Like, we know every month there's going to be a sprint, a gallop, and a 10 furlong at every archetype on which Saturday it is, whatever. You can build towards that. That's great. But these other free rolls and everything else that's going on, like, get it out there. Make sure you don't post stuff that's not going to change. You should not be able to look ahead to season 18 if that schedule is not final. Like, it should not be on the website. Like, just things like that where there's like big improvements that need to be made, especially like this far into the game. I think that's kind of like my plea at this point. To answer Sten's question, my mother-in-law bought me that for Christmas, so it is different than my silks. Don't know how to put that onto a silk, but that is the logo they came up with.
Do you have an image of it? Viper might be able to help you in chat. He fixed mine. He fixed my silks for me. They look nice.
Yeah, hit my DMs if you can come up with something. I would definitely
I
put
didn't
that
mean
on
like
there.
create something. I meant if you have like the solid, if you have a digital thing of that, he can make it.
Well, I'm
so
saying
that
like let him know what I can if I need to get him something like just if it's just taking a picture and sending it of it or whatever. Yeah, shoot me a friend request on Discord. I'll shoot something your way to help me out.
So
last thing, yeah, we'll wind it down here. We'll wrap in a couple minutes then.
yeah, I want to echo what the JJ said. I agree with that. I think I made a disclaimer at the start, and I'll make it again. Like, yeah, we like to kind of bitch and just kind of, throw our complaints right here. It's more of a lot of it is a venting session, if you will. But
it's more fun to do it over voice than it is getting in a sparky rant in
text using your words and hearing the raw emotion is better.
I think I speak for both of us and say we're like super grateful for like this game and what Ian's done and what we've achieved in this. So that's a given. And the problem is like
GDG, we wouldn't do it if we didn't enjoy it.
Right.
Like
that's the thing too, and it's like having.
It's an awesome game. I just want it to be better. I just want it to let's fucking let's go.
Playable game.
That's really
not
all
going
to
disintegrate like the last few weeks of games disappearing and shit. Like,
also, if you don't have someone like GVG on the stream to class the thing up, you're just gonna get me and JJ bitching.
He's missing. I gotta put out a missing person report. Yeah. Honestly.
GVG, he's just too classy. He's too
I think
classy.
we did pretty good tonight. I don't think we got off the rails.
I hope making it sound worse than it was. I don't think I said anything that I regret, which I definitely have done on the stream.
It doesn't matter. You're fucked to begin with. Both of you guys opened your mouth on the stream and you apologized afterwards. Too late.
No, I said it beforehand, and I say it again. I believe everything I said. I'm just sometimes I can go on a rant and you forget the fact that I'm like. The game's been great for me. I've been super thankful for it, and nothing's going to take that away, even if I do bitch about the schedule left and right.
It's right. View count has never been higher now. Mr.B comes on and everyone.
It's like an hour past my bedtime already. Jesus.
Yeah, that's fine. Listen, you can just.
If I don't go off here soon, my wife is going to have bought every Prime Day deal for the nursery that's out there. So. I probably should hop soon.
Yeah, I'm like Jerry Seinfeld's dad when he was like at Peterman's office and it's like 5:00 and he's like passing out. That's me. I'm way past. I'm running out of steam.
I don't know that they've talked about this behind the scenes. If you guys can add to it, if they talked about limiting the number of seasons American breed or stud cover. That's something that was brought up way back in the day and floated around.
Yeah, we talked about it on this stream too.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't. We suggested it. I don't think the team has said it, but
once again, I think it just ties in. If it's best for the game, we're all in favor of them doing that. However, it can't just be done like, hey, next season, that's it. Especially when people are buying assets and spending a fair amount of money to do so.
Sure.
You can't just change the rules there. So you need to give multiple season heads up if you're going to make those changes. But honestly, if it's for the best of the game, we're going to be in favor of it. But those are decisions they need to make, and we'll react accordingly, provided, especially if we have enough lead time, then so be it.
Yeah, this was good. Yeah, I had to add a disclaimer at the bottom because obviously everyone's opinions are those of their own. So let's just.
Well, no, you're not getting a nerf. You won 2 majors in 3 weeks, dude.
I'm getting.
You did something right.
If I didn't get. Listen, I'll put it this way. All right, Bryce hasn't been in my chat for a couple of months. I can take hints. All right, but I when I complain and tilt, and obviously my viewers that are there on Mondays and Tuesdays, they are valid tilts. It is not me complaining out of nonsense just to complain. It's not like me going into general and bitching that there isn't a perfect race for my horse every single day. All right, it's valid. It's something that could potentially improve the game, could help. But listen, there's you can do it in Discord and it can get covered up and never seen again because everyone has a difference of opinion. But when it's on recording, it's receipts galore. Like we've discussed for so many seasons about the amount of times a horse can breed. We've discussed so many seasons, the life expectancy of horses is way too long. We started the game with no claimers. Then we had tons of claimers and it was great, and now claimers are flatline. Like, all of the things that are being discussed, and most of the time have been discussed on prior streams. Like, if you go back to the early things, and we looked at it before you came on, Mr.B, it's like the replays of my streams that have the most views are the ones where we're doing this exactly. We're not looking at horses. We're sitting here and discussing views about the game and things that could potentially benefit it if it was tweaked a little bit. Or, again, if they're going to change things, give us a sizable heads up, for planning. Because, again, this is a game where you don't just plan for next week. You literally have to plan 3-4 months ahead. Like, it's a never-ending puzzle. But if you're going to make decisions,
let us use those towards a North Star. Like, that's like my summation of it all. It's like, let us make it a game of skill by guiding us to what we need to apply that skill towards.
Yeah, those views are the team's lawyers taking notes. Yeah, right. If they would have been taking notes, there would have been a lot of changes by now. Trust me, Sten said a lot on those early streams. Mr.B said a lot on his early streams.
Sten on those early streams, man, say what you want about Stens. Good guy Stens, whatever you want to call Stens.
Good guy Sten. Sometimes
since the very beginning, he has pointed out any kind of flaw. He has done nothing against any of the rules. He wants the game to be sustainable. And he has always been for doing what changes need to be made. He might make them front and center by doing some things, but hey, he's pushed to make stuff change for the better through his actions, and he definitely let everyone know he was doing XYZ that shouldn't be allowed if it was something that they needed to change. So
it's, again, and it goes back to the benchmarks too. Like, we discussed that they're gameable. There's going to be a time where they might not see it, but there is a way to game them.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's even more of a way there's more of a reason to game them now because it's 70s and 90s. Like,
yeah,
it's just like, we're not just, again, bitching to bitch, which, a lot of people do. I mean, I do sometimes. I like to go on little rants here and there, but like, we're all guilty of it. But there's always something inside the rants that can help, not hurt. Yeah, I don't know, man. I like this. I like doing the round tables. So again, I have no problem putting the races on the back burner when I get opportunity to do this, because I said before, it's getting bigger stables to set time aside, especially.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, the questions tonight were great. Like,
yeah, it's fun when you get people engaged in it. It's
I talk to Mr.B every day. I talk to DoughBoy every day. I met some people tonight, get to throw out my opinions. My wife thinks it's fucking crazy that people watch me talk about digital horses for 2 hours. Like,
yeah, we're cooked, Viper.
I fucking love doing it. Like, I want to do this for like the next 10 years of my life. Like, that's why we're so passionate on these streams. Like, I mean, that would just be the coolest thing ever, right? Like, that's what we want. Mr.B probably not. He's gonna go take a lot of vacations over the next 10 years. He's gonna forget about horses.
Like, there's good suggestions, and then there's, let me use my Bored Ape as a jockey suggestions. All right, like,
yeah,
we don't need fucking Bored Apes riding horses. We already have hot dog horses, and we're gonna have dog horses, I assume, at some point, maybe soon. But yeah, it's, again, if you can't handle someone's opinion and your first instinct is to battle back instead of listen and understand it, this might be the place for you.
Unless it's Sparky, then just argue with him because it's fun.
Arguing's fun too. I mean, it's great, but like, it's not bitching. This isn't a fucking therapy session like some Twitter spaces turn into be. Like,
yeah, sometimes it is.
This is
it was good seeing
but most of the time, I don't think there was any conversation that went on in the last 2.5 hours that wasn't valid to helping the game. Like, I don't think that was the case. And if it was, then someone can point it out and I'll be called a liar. But I think it was great.
And it was good seeing Grandpa ask some questions. I haven't DM'd with him in the Discord in a long time, but good to see him. Good to see him still active.
Yeah, there's players that are here. There's longtime players here as well, and new players. Like, a lot of the players that are in here, some of them are newer, like in the last few months, and it's good to see them in here asking questions. Like, this is the time to do it. If I ever have larger, I mean, it would have been beautiful to have GVG, because honestly, he's literally playing the game at a completely fucking different level, and I want to hear that. I want to understand it. Like
it's not with no intention for sure. And that kind of goes back like to the advice. It's like have a goal, work it out, and be very intentful in what you want to do. Like you can't just come in this game and throw a couple bucks against the wall and be like, what am I doing? Like, why am I not making money? Like, it's not that game anymore. It was for a bit, but
except GVG came in with a purpose and he executed it. But we're not talking about something a small stable can do. I mean,
no.
He came in at the top. He executed perfectly. Yep. He came in and he came in late, so he wasn't in early. So he spent money. His game plan wasn't overly complex, but it was super solid, and he just fucking executed on it.
And he never stopped buying either. That was the crazy part. Like he got very think about this. Like a lot of people won't understand it because they weren't here from season 0. But remember when Foals were listed, S minus fillies were listed for 12K and 15K and shit like that. People were running their Gen 0 S minus fillies in 25K claimers. Prices were fair then. Season 3, 4, 5, shit hit the fan, and he was still buying and adding and constructing, and he always did that up through peak season 8, 9. But the way and again, not everyone can do what he did, but you can do what he did on a different level with a different size bankroll. You don't have to have the multiple $100,000 bankroll that he can have. You can have a few $100 bankroll and build a small stable of A's, A pluses that if you do the work and find what you're looking for, you can be successful. But you get out what you put in. If you half-ass it and just auto-click, like, I mean, they've seen me do it sometimes, like, oh, we had a good night, there's a full for 1,000, I'll just fucking buy it. Like, whatever. If you do shit like that, you're just going to sink money. But if you put time in to look and say, all right, this full's valid, there's results on both sides, the stats aren't crazy. It's not an A jump to an A or to an S. Like it's A to an A or A to an A plus. Like looking for stuff like that. Again, you're looking to find an edge that someone else doesn't have, but also you can't just fire from the hip. I've hung out with like Zook is the perfect fucking example of fire from the hip. Mr.B, how many horses did you sell him in a 2-week span because he had money and he wanted to spend? And it didn't matter.
I sold him like 2, but
but the one that I tried, I remember it specifically. It was listed for 180, and he said, "I'm just gonna buy this horse." And I said, "Why don't you ask Mr.B if he'll sell it to you for 150 or something?" He asked you. You took 3 hours to respond, and he said, "I'm just buying it for 180."
No,
people that have money like that can do things like that. Is it the right thing to do? I don't think it is. But if you see something you want, I understand buying it without getting information. Like I know people like that. I understand it. But do your homework. Don't just fucking fire from the hip. Like if you have an endless bankroll, sure you can, if you have fuck you money, you can do whatever you want. We know that. Mm-hmm. But not everyone is coming in with fuck you money. They're coming in with middle finger money,
But we joke about this, but GVG, he might have come in with fuck you money. But he doesn't just splash it around. He actually knows what the fuck he's doing. And I think everyone's given up on commission LTS. LTF, not just LTS, but LTF. It's all over. LT is they're just renaming the archetype, just commissions archetype. That's what it's called now.
The commish.
Yeah, they're not even called left turf races, just called commish races.
Yeah.
He's dominated it so badly. People are just giving up ahead of time. It's just over.
Well, he did solve left turf firm, didn't he? Zook told me he solved it also, so I don't know who to believe.
Maybe soulmates will take him on, but I don't know that anyone's good. Everyone else is just kind of throwing in the towel. I don't blame them.
In season 26, we'll finally have a 2-star or a 2.5-star left turf stallion. I don't think we might have one.
YSM and all the other Lussy Juice ones that won the sprints before, the play was to make the best LDF horse and pray that the weather goes good or firm. Like that was the play in terms of how to attack LTF.
Yeah.
We'll get there eventually, I'm sure, but God, you're gonna have to hit it big to make back any money. I've wasted a shit ton of money at LTF. So
the way you're gonna make money is you're gonna get like one of the studs is gonna just pop, and then everyone's gonna going to breed it.
I
Kind
mean,
of
you
like
see the breeding reports, they're out there. I mean, I've seen them. You could roll a 7.5 preference LTF. Like, I have plenty of breeding reports that show that. Like, somebody's eventually going to hit one.
But the thing is it's there again. There is no LTF, so any mare that you have is LTS 1 star, and if you go to an LTF stud with 1.5 or 2, you're likely to end up with 0.
You have to get one that's a 3-3.
So you're still fucking
something.
yourself. Like it's
You
still
need
a piece of the puzzle that. Yeah, it's wild.
Right.
But
I think I'm gonna drop on that note. I can go down.
Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up here because again,
thanks for having us.
go to goodbye.
It was fun. If you have any questions, hit me up on Discord. Happy.
If you want to discount on a horse, just contact RVA. Basically, giving them out for free.
If you think
send them as many DMs as possible.
I need to start giving away on your stream like other people do. Maybe maybe we can do a duck. Let's do a duck race later this week. I'll add something from my.
If I go live Saturday, I'll do it, or I'll put a Twitter post up and try.
Or maybe, I'll give something away.
You just go through your stable and find all the A horses that you don't want.
DoughBoy will go through my stable and say, "Will you give this one away?" And I'll say yes.
Yeah, I don't. You tell me what you want to do. I have permission from Fibonacci to do horses for giveaways. So
okay, yeah, I'll do one.
I'm the only motherfucker that bred with the block. Egg on your face, you son of a B.
Yeah, I bought that horse for $16K. It's had 12 covers for like months. I bought it just to be a dick.
They listen to me more than they listen to you. They listen to me. I think I'm the only person that took a breed off him, but it doesn't matter. You sold that horse for $45K way back when.
Well, even as recently as when I bought it, it had like 12 or something. It had more covers, fees brought in.
That goes back to talking about what to look for in a horse. That fucking stud has produced so many A horses that have won 50,000 Derby just from like.
I hit him a few times, but I don't. Whatever. But
it's weird.
I wish I would have hit him more. I kind of forgot that I had him.
I mean, whatever. You got him for.
I can do it next
30
month.
seasons. No
all right, I got like 50 years to breed.
Yeah, you got 30 seasons more. You're good. I'm excited to get mine revealed and then hit him again. The revolting blob has something special.
Maybe I'll just give Snowman away.
Yeah, don't do that.
Not a good horse. That's what I heard.
Don't do that. Snowman's actually got some nice distance runners out there in RT, so I don't know if you've noticed them. GVG has a couple.
GVG beats my ass with that. That's why my S Plus horses have lost me $1,000 because of GVG's horse.
You've been good all night. You gotta say mean things about. I said we gotta respect the elders, and you gotta do shit like that, Stens.
No, I wasn't sleeping. I was actually responding to a text. So
that's all right though. But yeah, if you guys want to drop off, I'll do the closing ceremonies.
Are you staying on for the after dark qualifiers?
No, I'm not. I have to work tomorrow morning.
Gotcha. Yeah,
and I didn't get it.
I think that they're included. It throws the whole week off. It makes it tough.
Yeah, those are tough. They really do throw the whole. Yeah,
I don't like race anywhere else. Does that happen for other archetypes or only right now?
No, just really? Right turf.
For right turf qualifiers, we get 2 of them at like 11 p.m. on your stream, and then Thursday cuts off at like 5. So you basically, it's not possible to race one a day.
Listen, man, I just asked for the races, and Richie does the rest. All right.
Oh, I guess it probably is the other archetypes. I just don't pay attention to the other ones.
I don't know because I don't race anywhere else.
Monday I have 1 qualifier. Tuesday I have 2 qualifiers every week for whatever archetype is up.
Okay. Yeah. As long as they're whatever. It does add a layer of you need to map it out. I definitely scrambled last month.
That's above my pay grade to help with the schedule like that. So
yeah. Okay.
But yeah, again, you guys are always welcome to come up. I wish we'd get like Given or some of the other guys, the newer stables up from the Cabal, to discuss their.
Given's too busy buying fillies.
Poker player would have been nice to have up, but he's.
Yeah, I have to get him on a Saturday. He's killing it. That dude, like Stens pointed out, like nobody's. Yeah. I think he's doing it better than a lot of people right now.
Yep.
Are you sure? Because I saw someone in Discord General say that he was not doing good at all. Some Coast Race stable said he was down 30K or something. I don't know. You don't remember that last week?
Maybe he's not having a good season this season, but the last 2.
He's fucking killing. He's also always having a good season. He's been popping up in the majors. He's running off preference and winning. Like it's nuts.
He's number 10 overall this season, but in terms of a profitability, I'd have to look.
I just need him to get a better mic because his accent is so thick when he speaks. nobody can talk at all. I literally have to mute everybody so that way he can get through clear.
Yeah, it looks like he's break even this season in racing, but I think
We're just started week 3.
He had no majors hit, I don't think, for right dirt or left dirt.
That's all right. I can't stream slots, or I would.
Yeah.
I'd show you more ways to lose money.
All right, I'm out of here.
Yeah, y'all have a good night. We'll do it again, obviously. Mr. B,
All right. Take care.
thank you for your input today. Appreciate you. All right. Yeah, I'm not staying live for the rest of the races. This was good enough. This is what I wanted tonight, and I will always put the races on the back burner. I value roundtable talk and discussion with higher up stables and longer members of the community than I do watching 4 and 5 horse and 6 horse races. But yeah, tonight I think is more beneficial to listen to bigger stables than it is to listen to me talk about how we can't win a 5 horse race. So that'll be it tonight. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate everyone. Stens, thank you again for the gifted subs. Viper, again, the gifted subs. Listen, I'm a man of the people, all right? And again, I'll say it how it is. I ain't afraid to ask questions. I ain't afraid to dig in. That's what you want. That's what I'm here for. I do it for the people. But yeah, I think it's good to have the big stables on and then have, again, newer stables come on and ask questions and get answers. Like tonight was great. Y'all did good with the questions. Did good with the feedback. Did good with the trolling. Everything was good tonight. Very good. But yep. On that note, I'm out. Saturday. We might be live Saturday. I got to see what the UFC schedule looks like, and I'm on another 5-day bender this week, so it's going to be rough, but we'll try and get it done. Everyone, take it easy. Again, thank you, Stens, for the gifted. Viper, thank you for the gifted. Again, I appreciate y'all. The newer people that followed, I appreciate y'all as well. This replay, if you joined late, it will be up on YouTube. I'll post it then. And yeah, everyone have a good night. We'll see you on Saturday potentially. Maybe tomorrow. Probably not tomorrow. Saturday for sure. But all right, take it easy, everyone. Thank you again. Appreciate y'all.